Hello and welcome to week 3 of BSL Rocket League action, and hey, it's great to be back here. I'm Jared Jam. Together with EuroLeague, we'll be bringing you some even more games. Who knew we had more games in store, but look at that. We still have 4 more matches for you today, and a couple of bangers, a couple of interesting ones. Obviously, we'll cover them as they come along and do a little bit of overview. But EuroLeague, how are you doing? How much on the scale from 1 to 10 are you excited for today's matches?
Well, in terms of excitement, I mean, 10 out of 10 every single time. The Baltic scene always tends to surprise, and so I'm excited to see, especially with a lot of teams in the midfield competing today, and a lot of teams looking to bounce back from pretty bruising encounters. I'm hoping to see some upsets, perhaps, and I feel like a lot of teams are going to need upsets at this point. Of course, a reminder to everyone at home, only the top 2 teams can qualify to LAN for this time around, as opposed to the 4 teams from Season 3, so every series really does count, and it's why teams like the Backflip Boys and league favourites, the Time Chasers, are in such a lofty and highly sought after position.
Right. Well, before we start, just a quick note on exactly what this is, what will be happening later on in the year. This all will culminate in a big LAN event at HyperTown Expo in Tallinn on November 23rd and 24th. You can grab your tickets right now. If you are a group of people or a family, or if you're a student, you will get some discounts going your way as well. Rocket League will be at that LAN, CSGO will be at that LAN, and for the first time in Baltic League, and I think the biggest prize pool as well, Guns of Boom, a mobile game, will be also there with their World Finals. So it's going to be really 2 days filled to the brim, actually 1 day filled to the brim with eSports. The second day will all reserve to cosplay, and if you're a cosplayer, you still have a chance to register for the event until the end of the month. I believe 27th of October is that last date. 27th of October, go to HyperTown.pro for the tickets I've mentioned previously and for cosplayer applications. Last but not least, if you want to win some prizes and straight from your home, you don't even have to go anywhere. PUBG and CSGO skill contests are happening every Wednesday starting from 7 p.m. local time. Go to BESL.Pro to learn a little bit more than that. But EuroLeague, let's jump into just the schedule for today. See exactly what games will be represented today, what we'll be dealing with, and I think it's only reasonable to start at the very beginning, where everything should be, right?
I agree entirely, and
maybe not yet. Maybe we'll start with the standings. Let's talk about the standings as I'm trying to fix the schedule for today.
Well, the standings are pretty much, I sort of led into them a little bit earlier on Time Chasers and Backflip Boys. Currently up to the top there, Time Chasers 3-0 after playing 3 games. It's looking very good for them, though they did have a bit of a tough time against Team Black Diamond. That's a Time Chasers have never had a settled lineup for a week either, having Sonic V2 in some form or fashion stepping into the team. Backflip Boys 2-0. They're looking really good. They're looking really strong. I'm excited to see what they do in future weeks, not actually playing today. So Actually, I don't think the Time Chasers are either. No, so both of our league leaders are going to be looking down on the rest of the chasing pack. First of which is Team Black Diamond, who took Time Chasers so close to our first real upset of the season. Definitely the dark horses for LAN, the biggest threat to the Backflip boys. Certainly is going to be exciting to see how they do today. Up against the likes of Bad Dudes, for example, on 1-on-1, Imperial 1-on-1, and propping up the table with no wins at the moment. You've got Mind Games and Team Small Brain both at 0-2. Post-game Strong, though, another team that's got a lot to prove. I think they're going to be featuring in 2 games today alongside Bad Dudes, and quite literally alongside Bad Dudes, Jar of Jam, since that is our first game of the day. And for Post-Game Strong in particular, the first team this season to suffer a loss of over 10 goals in one game. That's unfortunately a record that they held from last season as well. Thankfully for them, it was up against Time Chasers. So you imagine that's probably the worst of it over now.
Right, well, again, as we mentioned, Bad Dudes and Post Game Strong will be our very first matchup of today, followed by Imperial versus Post Game Strong. Team Black Diamond later will be playing versus the Bad Dudes in their second game of the day, and Team Small Brain and Mind Games eSports will be closing out the whole evening, and one of these teams will have to win. They're currently sitting at the very bottom, but playing against each other, at least one of them will get their victory and will be victorious. And really, despite their position in league table right now, it still should be a pretty hard-fought battle. Both these teams, I think, will be proved to be solid opponents to one another.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, already at this early stage, there's questions to be asked of what are they fighting for? And going into this season, I would say, if you were to lose one series, then you might still be okay for LAN. You might still have a chance. Lose 2 series, and you might already be out of the running. And so for both of these teams, lose this series, and you've lost 2 of them. And it doesn't matter whether you've got a win like the Bad Dudes or whether you're just heading into your second matchup like Post Game Strong. I feel strongly about that prediction, and it's why the likes of Mind Games and Team Small Brain, and in particular Team Small Brain, who I was both impressed and like a stern father, so very disappointed in. Things could have gone so well for them. They didn't, and Post Game Strong would do well to learn from their mistakes and to both elevate their hopes for the season whilst putting a dent in the Bad Dudes.
Yeah, there has been a long break for Post Game Strong, and I'm hoping that they've used this time after that. Well, demolition, I think, is the only way we can describe their game versus the Time Chasers. But we were expecting Time Chasers to do this to many teams. Surprisingly enough, 2 of their opponents that weren't Post Game Strong actually got some stern words for them. Team Small Brain, out of all teams, has actually managed to bring Time Chasers. Well, it still was a 3-0 in favor of Time Chasers. Those were 2 very close games and 1 blowout. And then, who was it that they... Yeah, of course, it was the Team Black Diamond, which they've exchanged best of 5 series going all the way to Game 5, and that could have been the very first loss for Time Chasers series-wise. Definitely they've lost their first game during that first week, something that they've said they will never, ever, ever, ever do during this season. We're not going to lose a single game. And yet, they did. Well,
they did, yeah. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they say because, well, quite frankly, it's already happened. It's already happened. And actually, before we head into the game, not necessarily a massive, it's kind of a continuation from week number 1, or from week number 2 rather. Time goes so quickly, Jam. But One Skunk is subbing in for Kobe Jack on the team of Bad Dudes once again. And I think whether that was an enforced change or whether that was a tactical change, it's a good change overall. I think the team looked actually a lot more solid with One Skunk in that roster. I think that although it took a bit of time to Oh, hello. Although it took a little bit of time to get into the series, up against Team Small Brain, he really did grow into his role. Speaking of growing into the role, I need another invite, please. Or I need some way of getting in, because Rocket League has destroyed the party.
Oh,
Rocket
no.
League doesn't want me to commentate with you.
Rocket League, jeez. I mean...
And I feel so alone. I'm going to be joining you now, though.
Well, we'll be happy to have you here, our league, and Bad Deuce and Post Game Strong slowly getting it. And of course, rosters are on your screen. One Skunk in place of Kobe Jack, Dr. Zul, and Khalun, making that for a full Estonian roster versus the full Latvian roster: Dipsy, Rukava, and Arceus. Rukava and Arceus, two brothers, and Post Game Strong as a whole squad that hasn't been together for a long period of time. It's, in a way, it's a little bit of a shame that they had to play against Time Chasers in their very first week and get just slapped all around the field. But now, perhaps we can finally see what the real preparation was against the teams more of their caliber, what exactly post-game Strongs can do. And again, I'm just hoping, I'm deep in my heart, still from the previous season, I really want to see post-game Strong finally figure out those passing plays and start dominating the play with them in tow.
Well, remember so well week number 2 in season 3 when Post-this in particular they just popped off, and we were like, wow, where did this come from? Are we gonna actually see a promotion or like a land push for this team? And ultimately it didn't really turn out that way. It was very much a flash in the pan. But you're right, it's one of only 2 teams to fully retain their roster. They all feel comfortable with each other. So why not? Why not? Into game number 1 in this best of 5. Rukawa still rocking the Mad Cat. I love it. I love Hater incoming. Look at Arceus. He's recently switched to the breakdown as well, and he had a bit on in his offensive communication with himself there, because that was a certain goal had he simply made contact with it. Good early pressure from post-game straight to Dipsy. Haloom, the 50 challenge. Arceus over to the Dr. Zul going to pick up, trying to go around Rukawa. Dipsy. Haloom, Arceus with the challenge. And on target from Arceus. Good start from post-game Strong.
I do agree with that, our league. We'll try to get our league a little bit back in on the action with less of that distant play. But hey, 1 minute has already passed. It is going slowly right now. I wouldn't exactly say that one team necessarily is getting a lot of control, but both teams just trying to slowly get into it. Bad Dudes not running away with it. Post game Strong still I think looking for those attempts on getting a passing play going. So far, just an exchange of blows early.
We apologize if there's any technical difficulties. Can you hear me now?
Yep, absolutely. It was just mostly cutting off and everything, but hopefully it'll be all right now. If not, we're gonna change the server and try again. Sometimes, just like Rocket League, Discord can also be a little bit temperamental.
I was gonna say EU servers. Am I right? Arceus through the corner. Haloom away. The main point I was trying to get across there in that first minute. Post-game Strong looking pretty good, actually. Good pressure. Early chance at a goal. Just need to convert it now. Rukawa goes wide, living up to the team name. One Skunk demoing Rukawa to try and relieve some pressure on the defense, but still the pressure comes from Arceus. Haloom whiffs, but Dr. Zul was on hand. Dipsy goes up high. Haloom touches this over to the corner. In comes Rukawa again. The pressure's still coming. Rukawa takes out one Skunk, and that's a big win for Dr. Zul. Out of defense, Arceus was in retreat, and Haloom keeps on the pressure finally for the blue team now. But look at Dipsy. Weaves his way around one Skunk. Dr. Zul tries to bring it back into the center. Dr. Zul still keeps it in a dangerous position, and Haloom scores the first goal. And it's typical post-game Strong here, Jam, where after such good work for the first 2.5 minutes. It's all undone as soon as pressure comes out from the other team. 1-0.
It's those aerial plays, really the Achilles heel for post-game strong. The moment the ball gets into the air, it's often you can see that they just don't know exactly what to do. Bad Dudes were setting up these positions for a long time, just trying to surround post-game strong to reply to every single one of these clears, and they finally got themselves an opportunity and executed on it.
Another shot on target from Arceus. Unfortunately, every shot on target from him has actually been a worse opportunity than the shot that he missed, the clear goal that he missed in the first 30 seconds or so. Dipsy is met by Dr. Zul. Rukawa towards net, but Arceus wasn't willing to commit to the play. Speaking of, down to the corner he goes. In from one skunk, and Rukawa brings out the save. Misses his follow-up touch, however. Left to Arceus now, who tries to get it past Haloum, who's maintaining his run. Inward pass again. Dr. Zul away. Here's one skunk on the wing. He sees Haloum, who's recently picked up the 100 boost. Nice passing play. Lofts it up. Not really towards the net, however. He does manage to get it back in. Rukawa with a loose touch. Ooh. And punished by Dr. Zul.
Just how fast was this? Only 92 kilometers per hour? That looked as if it was shot by an orbital cannon. Such a strong pinch that was. Of course, Dipsy couldn't do anything in the net. That was just an explosion of a shot. And I wouldn't exactly say that Bad Dudes deserve that much, but hey, that one rolled in. And still with no proper plan for post-game strong, and ball again dangerously in front of their net. Teetering on the edge of being scored. Bad Dudes might be just not run away with it, but sort of walk away with a win after post-game strong weren't able to show much on field.
I'm pretty sure Rukawa's controller just disconnected briefly. I certainly hope not. It wouldn't have mattered really in that situation. Haloum going wide. It's not that post-game strong have looked bad, even. They just failed to convert on some good chances.
There have been a couple of opportunities, I feel, but I'm lacking the vision of a general plan, something that they are planning to win this game with. Passes, not exactly creating themselves. Both teams are also struggling with the boost control, I feel. But still, with all this, Bad Dudes are looking much stronger in regard of trying to figure out something as of a play as a team, rather than just bring the ball up front and see what happens.
Yeah, so they are 1-1 in the series, are Bad Dudes. They could really do with a win here as the ball maintains up. It doesn't matter. Bad Dudes have won game number 1. Even with a buzzer beater, there won't be any chance for a retrieval of the situation on the side of post-game strong. I mean, they played simply. They took to the air. But I think the big issue for post-game strong here, I was criticizing that they weren't converting their chances. When you look at the stats there, Jam, Arceus with 4 shots, he has quadrupled the amount of shots on target as the rest of his team, which highlights to me that they're relying on him a lot, as they did last season, to be fair, to be that lone striker capable of putting it in the back of the net. I'm sorry, that's not how Rocket League works. Not in this modern day and age. You need all 3 players to be contributing on the offense at some point. And maybe part and parcel of not converting good chances is the fact that those 2 haven't been willing to come up into the offense and try and score themselves.
Yeah, either you need 3 extremely quality folks. That's not exactly a phrase, but you know what I mean. Or you need a proper team play, and if post-game strong still aren't able to figure out how exactly they can organize a passing play in between each other, then yeah, they'll be struggling. As you said it, they've been bringing the ball in, but then they were not ready to come in and try to play the ball, like do some sort of a follow-up. All of their players are usually sitting pretty deep on their own half, waiting for either a miracle to happen and balls going straight exactly their way, or I'm not sure, they will with sitting this deep in the defense, it would all be too late for any of the rebounds going their way. Something that could have been taken, putting a pressure on the bad dudes, but instead, I feel like post-game strong are wasting their attacks just a little.
It's always a new day when the new game rolls around. So plenty of time for post-game strong to show us what you've got. Nice flick on from Dipsy. Sadly doesn't even register as a shot, even though it was on target. Arceus comes in, well met by Dr. Zool. And look, Dipsy was going up for the challenge and then just backed out of it. There was a lack of conviction that he was going to make it. Maybe he was too slow. But still, it doesn't bode well. Up the sidewall. Again, Dr. Zool gets there before Rukawa. Maybe evidencing why he felt like he needed to back out of the particular challenge. Dr. Zool going for the meet in midfield. Misses his touch. Haloom around the corner. Rukawa gets this one away to the side. One skunk. It goes center. Dipsy with a booming clearance downfield. No real plan, as you say there, Jam. Just wanting to get it downfield for the sake of throwing it into the blue half. And Arceus is going to throw this one up to the top of the box. He's got a bit of boost to work with, and Rukawa does commit, but sadly he also goes well wide.
A great attempt. I think they will finally approach the ball well, got themselves an opportunity, had a chance to put the ball behind the bad dudes' defenders, but a little bit too weak of a shot. Still, they're starting to getting more attacking opportunities, trying to use that backboard, but not always they're getting that touch that they're specifically looking for. And still, since the bad dudes haven't answered, those Game Strong are in a great positions to start off scoring in this game number to put the bad dudes on the back burner and see how they perform playing from behind. And they still will have to be found out later, since Haloom is the player who finally scores, as post-Game Strong once again are not really able to get the ball going anywhere from the backboard.
You are not going to survive this long, or you're not going to survive in the BESL with backboard defense like that. Criminal from Arceus. Criminal, really was. And if that's the state of their defense post-Game Strong, then no wonder their offense is lacking any conviction. One skunk. Oh, nice pinch there from Arceus, trying to get it off the defender. And Rukawa from nowhere. You can't just let me criticize the team for backboard defense, bad dudes, when you're just as bad yourself. 1-1.
Oof. Is the way I can describe that one. Really this close to clearing the top of the backboard. Dr. Zill couldn't reach it, and then precise finish in the right corner. Haloom couldn't do anything either. That was... I don't think he was ready for the ball to actually drop his way. He was there, just not really prepared. Ooh, double commit, and...
Wow!
Well, that's a comedy of errors from both teams right now. Bad dudes immediately return the ball on the other end of the field, and really, for this one, Rukawa, I don't think he had any business saving that one. He was going at it straight. Best thing he can do is do a fantastic pinch. That wasn't looking like a fantastic pinch, as he just threw himself body into the pile and took himself out of the game.
Neither of them looked decent in that defensive error. Neither of them. Okay, Rukawa, wow. Again, Rukawa, if you're going to be boosting towards the ball at that pace, at least miss or don't win the challenge with conviction. Don't just bottle out of it. So many mistakes coming out from post-Game Strong, which is a shame. Again, we know what they're capable of from last season, and they're not living up to that whatsoever. Haloom trying to go for the double touch. It ends up being such a simple assist for bad dudes. And I'm sorry, post-Game Strong, but with this sort of form, by season's end, you are going to be propping up the bottom of the table with a hefty negative goal difference.
And I really hate to see this. I had so much trust in post-Game Strong, but right now, it's the basics. It's the basics that are betraying them. Defense on the backboard, on just the wall. It's your opposition will definitely try and exploit your inability to make proper clears, to react to these bounces. Something very straightforward for post-Game Strong to work on in the upcoming weeks. But it might still take them a little bit of time until they're really comfortable with it. Right now, you can see that that's one weak point, and that's one humongous weak point. If post-Game Strong would be a boss in a video game, it will be circled in a red circle or something. Just like hit there. And bad dudes currently are doing exactly that.
1 minute left. Still not an irretrievable situation for post-game strong. It's still 3-1. So despite all the criticism that I can throw at them, of which, believe me, I've got plenty more stored if they continue along this fashion, it's not an irretrievable situation. I mean, hell, it's not even match point yet. It's only match point if Bad Dudes go on to win this game. Dipsy. A poor clearance straight into the front bumper of one skunk, although this is a decent counter-attack. Dipsy up high. Halloum. You can see Rukawa there. That was a good attempt to read the play, to try and to dunk on them. And one skunk forced to get this away to Halloum. Gets it over the top of Dipsy, but the rotation's coming in strong here. Rukawa. Arceus. Look to go around the corner, trying to get the second touch, but Halloum gets there first. Dipsy. One skunk off the backboard. And Arceus tries to get a pinch that only ends up with Dr. Zool. They hardly need to put on any big amount of pressure to Bad Dudes, such as the situation. Oh, nice extra deft touch there from Dipsy. Tries to go infield to Arceus. Rukawa going to come in with another shot, but it's not going to reach the net. 2-0 in the series to the Bad Dudes. Post-game strong. The drawing board has been thrown out. They need to re-evaluate their Rocket League careers because, again, it's you know, there was so much inexcusable stuff going on there. Awful backboard defense, questionable rotations, shots which should have been on target missed, goals which should have been converted, not happening. Rukawa, I think, was quite lucky to get away with his shot. It was the perfect commitment, but Rukawa also personified for me exactly what's wrong with the team. To go head first, boost and all, into a challenge, only then to bottle out at the last minute, not even looking to lose a challenge with dignity. Again, it's worrying for me. It's worrying that this team, one of the only established rosters going into this season, Jam, is looking like a team that's only just been playing with each other for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is an apt description of how Postgame Strong are looking at it now. They're running into each other still, despite having a lot of experience with each other. Really, where are these? Where's the confidence, guys? Where is really the confidence? Where's the chemistry? Where's the understanding? Sometimes you work out that almost telepathic understanding of where each other is on a field. I'm surprised we don't see that after the first season, after this break, after really, unless Postgame Strong really didn't use all this time in between the seasons doing scrims, trying to figure out their weak points, and perhaps even analyzing demos. Oh, then yeah, perhaps they were just playing for fun. Sometimes you just get a couple of friends. If they're still having fun playing, then all props to them. But if they really want to get something done in this league, they really need a lot more. And it's the simple things. It's something that at their level, and I know that they're all roughly between champ 1 and champ 3 as far as I know. They really, I really expect much more from them.
I would expect more from me in a Rocket League match, which I'm not great, folks. I'm really not great. But
he's pretty good.
You know, no, I'm really not. Like it's very much as you said. The basics are not being done correctly, and I'd argue if you're turning up to this season and your goal isn't to try and get to LAN, then what are you competing for? What are you competing for? What is there to try and to win? And the answer for Post-Game Strong at the moment is they're not looking to win anything. Not even a single game. Once again, down 1-0 with sloppy defense, with a simple pass round the corner. I don't see Post-Game Strong scoring in this game. That's how little faith I have in them right now.
That is rough, but it is looking that way. Really, if we start naming things, not just basic stuff, but naming things, one of the things that springs to mind immediately is the fact that the touches that Postgame Strong are making, while they're getting those touches, I don't think they necessarily know where that touch is going to lead them. They're not doing this with a purpose. They're not looking for their teammates. Someone might be going up, might be getting a very, very strange angle, put the ball in the center of the field, but nobody from Postgame Strong is there, so no follow-up means just giving your ball away to your opposition. All those little touches that led to that first goal just skips past and misses here and there, and bam, all of a sudden, all these touches that you've been making lead the ball back to your own net, and you have a goal against you with a pretty good chip from Halu. Now they're sitting in the attack, but can't they really find anything? Positioning so far is good, and this would have been great. Rukawa just a little bit late. Please, more of that, and a little bit more of aggression.
Here goes Rukawa again, going up high, looking for the flick. Nice effort from Rukawa, and I tell you what, I can talk about how they expect Arceus.
There we go.
Oh, that was such a nice play. Denied by the bottom 90. What a shame. Rukawa, he's turning out to be the striker that Arceus was being lofted so highly as for this team. And some lovely creativity coming out from Dipsy there. I want to see it, and it's still not happening for Dipsy. 3 in net. As Bad Dudes choose to go on the defense, they needed to, because Dipsy, he's trying to drag his team back into this on his own.
But to be fair, look at how better both teams strong are currently looking. All these chances, all these opportunities, bringing the ball into the air themselves, and then the Bad Dudes are getting tested. But it's that very same old Achilles heel. Still aches. Getting into the air and still struggling to bring the ball back. Rukawa way too late for that challenge. Backboard defense. I don't think even the backboard wasn't even a backboard play in that case. It was just small pop in the air and then follow up until very end. No follow up on the cheat up either. Interestingly, game plan for post-game strong right now, it should be all out attack, and really their aggression all of a sudden has popped up so well. It's just like, this is game number 3, there's less than 2 minutes remaining, and with 2 goals down, even if they all of a sudden start scoring left and right, post-game strong might be out of it.
But Jem, it's the same problems, however. In both offense and defense, they are failing in the basics in defense, and they're failing to convert shots on target. Ultimately, it's almost like they're trying to stab through some armor with a stick. They've forgotten to put the metal point on there to make it into a spear. Rukawa trying to run interference in defense.
Ooh, lovely.
That's a beautiful flick on, though, from Dr. Zool. Credit where credit is due. What a deft finish.
I like that. All players in a line, and Dr. Zool, great reaction as well. Just to get a touch in that one. Bam goes up, redirects it. Both games strong were out of the net anyway, but that just adds a little bit of flair in that third goal. Bad Dudes cementing their position, game number 3 and in the series. And man, you hate to see it, folks.
That's the best quality goal that Bad Dudes have scored. But even then, Dr. Zool was afforded that much time on his own in the opposition half to get the touch. Oh, that's woeful from Arceus. I'm sorry. I've got some words in the conclusion, but for now I shall continue to play by play. Dr. Zool with the save. Can't believe that registered as a shot, to be fair. Rukawa trying to find Dipsy in the offense, but a good challenge from the defender sees it goes all the way down the other side of the pitch. Rukawa boost hogging. Rukawa standing still on the 100 boost pad in a competitive game. Are you ready for my deep cut analysis, Jam?
Please do, please do.
Nice to see some fight for 10 seconds, but that was abject. Abject from everyone in that team, barring Dipsy. I think Dipsy was the only player from that entire series for post-game strong that can come away with any credibility. Rukawa, he had some good opportunities, yes, showed some signs of life, but he showed some signs of life like there's a little blip of a man in a coma. Arceus was flat out dead, missing in action. I don't know what happened to him. That's the worst game I've seen him play in BESL, period. Bad Dudes were given this win on a plate. They'll be happy for it. They'll be loving it. They've just had a clean sweep on a team. That's going to help their goal difference. It's going to help their game difference. Excellent. They keep alive their LAN hopes. For post-game strong, their LAN hopes are dead. And quite frankly, if they're going to play like that, good because they wouldn't have deserved to get there on the back of this performance.
Well,
Rant
it's... over. All right, well, thank you for that very informative rant, our league. And really, it's... Despite that one glimmer of hope from Post-Game Strong, a part of that game number 3 that they really should take, somehow cut it out of that game, put it in a jar, dilute it, or I don't know, ferment it or something, and just take a half of that every single time they need to play as good as that. Fantastic. Just make sure you can play like this 5 minutes at a time, not just 30 seconds at a time, not just 10 seconds or whatever your time frame was. That was lovely. All these attempts that Dipsy has been making into the air, they were threatening bad dudes all the time. But why didn't they happen in the previous 10 minutes? It's so very strange. And then by the end, it still wasn't looking like they were clicking as a team. So all right, not even one more week. Post-Game Strong are playing next, and it's a lot of preparation. But Post-Game Strong, if you're listening, what you just shown, even for a short while, was great. Please more of the same, and then the results will finally come. You're still not out of it, but dropping another game, and with 0-3, even if you then go 4-3, you have a long way to go until land. Most likely, even impossible.
Okay. Post-Game Strong, I've slated you. After the break, however, I'm going to lay out a recovery plan. Let's see whether you can get your season back on track up against Imperial. It's coming up after these messages.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I will wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Gave you another name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā viss varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris, kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
One. Hello and welcome back to BSL Action. Jarjam, still with Irelik here. We just saw bad dudes. Well, they seemingly have met a bump in the road, but then they drove over it and nothing really happened.
They really did.
Post game strong were left on the sidelines on the side of the road. It was just very strange indeed. One glimpse of hope from post game strong, and they will need to really hook onto that glimpse of hope, because they still have a match to go today. Their very next game. But first, our league. Let's just quickly talk about what went wrong and those rare things that went right for post game strong, and how exactly bad dudes were able to get past their opposition.
Okay. Post-game strong. If you're listening, I doubt you are. You're probably preparing for this match. Here's how you fix your problems. Okay. Dipsy Love, as I called him last season. Dipsy LV, whatever. Dipsy Latvia. He was, by miles and away, your best player. Creatively, with shooting opportunities, rotate around him. Set yourselves roles. Rukawa, I thought you were pretty decent in defense. If you can play anchor role and actually commit to your challenges and commit to offensive plays, you might score some. You scored when you committed that one time with a very nice up and nicey finish. Arceus, just stick up front. Your defensive game was so poor, so the least you can do is make yourself a nuisance up front. Maybe go for some bump plays, maybe go for some demo plays. Don't necessarily have to get shots on target, just keep plays alive and let your other teammates do the shooting work on target for you. Players have bad weeks, we see it all the time. So make yourself useful and run interference, because if you can't hit the ball, at least try and hit the players. If you do that, you might stand a chance against Imperial. That said, Jam, as I return my microphone to its normal resting place, that might be a bit difficult because they brought in a bit of a super sub.
Oh my, is pretty much all I can say. Well, let's those of you who don't know exactly who will be playing against Post Game Strong in their second game of the day, you might be in a little bit of a surprise. So let's bring out that matchup on screen. Representing Imperial, it's Chuvas. And post-game strong are just covering in fear because the nightmares of the previous season are still very much alive. The player, together with the rest of the WeIte squad, who has been delivering blows to the teams sitting the lowest in the standings in the previous season. Post-game strong was one of them. Chuvas is replacing Tagmata on the Imperial roster this week, and really, it's Tagmata was a cornerstone of that team. I feel like throughout the matches we have seen, Chuvas is an even bigger cornerstone. He's bigger in all regards. He is collectively known as the Tank around these parts, and he's just coming out of the retirement to help Imperial once again, making this a fully Lithuanian now team. So it's pleasantly enough, we had a fully Estonian team, post-game strong still fully Latvian team, and now Lithuanians in full force in Chuvas. Oh my Chuvas.
I'm so excited, Jam. We have one of the league's top scorers from last season. In fact, I'm pretty sure, didn't he end the season as top scorer as well with his efforts in LAN? Because I think Why Not Party was close, but I think that Chuvas still pipped him due to how many goals he scored in league play.
Actually, let's quickly check. Knowing that Mintipai had most assists, most shots, most points, but not most goals, and Why Not Party was second in goals, then yeah, I do believe that it was Chuvas who finished with the most amount of goals by the end of that season, regular season, not counting the playoffs.
Not counting LAN, yeah. And so they've got a goal machine. That's not exactly a like-for-like replacement of Tagmata, which, I mean, Tagmata, I think of him more as a cornerstone, like you say. He kind of fills that role, which I'm hoping that Rukawa will play in this series coming up now, which is a bit of an anchor creative player. He's not really someone who'll go up and join on the attack necessarily. Sometimes. A Chuvas, you want him on the end of every pass that you can get to him. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Imperial reformats itself with this emergency substitution. Because ultimately, Jam, it is an emergency substitution. And it's a big question as to whether they alter their style completely to suit Chuvas, which I think they should do, by the way, or whether they're asking Chuvas to fit into their system. Either way, they've got a super good player, and I fear, even with my coach advice for post-game strong, I think it's difficult for them to come out of this game, or out of this series rather, with a W. I think they're going to go 0-3 after this one, but I hope that it won't be a clean sweep. I hope that post-game strong will at least nick one game off Imperial, because certainly up until this point, I've not been convinced by the Imperial team.
There has been, well, I feel like for Imperial, Tagmata still plays a very important role for that team in terms of keeping Ragis and Dewey safe. For just safeguarding from any mistakes, cleaning up when the cleanup is needed. Due to that, I feel like the Tagmata hasn't been fully being able to bloom into a goal scorer, but he's definitely is there making sure that the midfield is safe, that their net is also safe, that shots are being stopped when shots needed to be stopped, saves are being made, and so on and so forth. I feel like for Chuvas then the best plan would be to perform in the same role. Don't have Ragis and Dewey all of a sudden switch to let's make passes to Chuvas. If that works, perfect. But I'd rather prefer for them for Chuvas to be that, alright, you guys do your thing, do what you do best, I'm not going to interfere in that, I'm going to do my best, and you know what my best is if you saw me last season. And let's just go from there. And even with that, with the fact that it's a substitution, I would feel like the Imperial would be able to do a pretty good job with Chuvas. And yeah, it's just not looking positive for post-game strong. All of the good best wishes to them, but I have Imperial as the eventual winner of the series.
I was going to say, it does feel very much like they've replaced the anchor with the sword. But we'll see how it turns out. For all we know, Chuvas could play in that anchor role, and I'm sure he would be very good at it as well. I think one of the strengths of WeIte from last season was that all three of them rotated so beautifully in. And yes, you had Chuvas, who happened to be on the end of more goals. Yes, you had Minfitby, who tended to assist more goals. Yes, you had Spring, who was a bit more of a creative box-to-box midfielder. but ultimately all of them could score just as well as each other. Each of them could defend just as well as each other. Each of them could create, yes, you guessed it, just as well as each other. And post-game Strong is going to need to do a complete 180 from their series up against the bad dudes if they have any hope of, well, first of all, scoring and getting on the board. Then we can maybe talk about getting some wins in this series. Raggis gonna throw some pressure onto the backboard immediately. Arceus there. Probably exactly where Imperial wants him at the moment. But look at Dipsy trying to go slow the play down. He picks up the 100 boost. Arceus looking for Dipsy. But Dipsy, I think, had to recover a little bit further. He actually missed that boost pad in the middle. But here comes Dipsy again, trying to get it past Duvi. That's what I like to see. He's turning up. He's trying to put some... He's trying to stretch the defense at the very least, or trying to get his way through. Not on this occasion, but it's nice to see him starting positively.
It is post-game Strong learning from their mistake. I feel like there we go, another attempt at the backboard play.
There we go.
Lovely, post-game Strong. Yeah, just like in the previous series, more of the same, please. Try test out your opposition, Imperial. We're not 100% ready for that. They made the save, but any next opportunity on that one, you might still get it through. And I love how Arceus and Dipsy have started to really push the ball through and getting past, well, first the bad dudes players, now the Imperial is sort of suffering the same fate. And with enough mistakes for Imperial, post-game Strong might be looking at actually opening the scoring in this one once again in the attack.
I like how Chuvas has named himself the tanking game. Bump play! Bump play! They've listened! They've listened, Jam! They've listened and they've taken the lead!
Yeah, there you have it. Rukawa just crossing with Dewey in the net. He didn't have much to do in that situation. I think he was... Even if he wasn't out of boost, he couldn't contribute to his team's attack in that position, and he didn't want to go for a redirect from that angle. So, next best option, just go for a bump, go for a demolition, and our league is a big fan of those. He loves to see when teams getting physical, and the post-game Strong squad has delivered. Now, big test, the defense. But Imperial are now struggling to find rotations in between themselves, and that attack, I feel like they had the ball, just given away back to post-game Strong.
There's a career for me as a coach yet, Jam. Arceus going up the sidewall. There's still plenty of time, of course. There's still like the better part of 3 minutes left, but I'll take my victories and I will support post-game Strong's victories where I can. Look at this, Arceus making a save towards net. Big Pogs. Dipsy gets past 2. And it's down to, I think, yeah, that was Chuvas having to bring it back in. But Rukawa, he had an open net to shoot for, goes wide, and Dipsy completely fluffs the touch. But look at this, Arceus, he sees Rukawa, who helps it into the corner. Infield passes, awareness of where each other is. Where was this post-game Strong 10 minutes ago? The answer is, they haven't gone away, they were just putting on a mask, Jam. Rukawa ball chasing and Duvi with an open net.
Oof. Yeah, unfortunately for post-game Strong, they have their Jekyll and their Hyde side, and it just keeps on turning back and forth. While I am incredibly happy for them that they finally have started looking for each other and being in those positions where the ball is going, the problem still remains in terms that, yeah, sometimes these touches are still not thought through. They're just touching the ball for the ball's sake, as I sometimes say. It's just, I'm gonna hit that ball. Where it's gonna go? Who cares? More often than not, it leads to the position where Imperial or any other opposition then are able to take a shot to continue an attack while you yourself sort of put yourself in a position where you really are unable to do anything. And that's just giving away the possession, giving away a perfect position to take a shot. And that's how post-game Strong are accruing the goals against them.
I'm so proud of Rukawa. Did you see him going in for that challenge on keeping on the pressure and actually not ducking out of it? You know, again, that might not have necessarily done anything, but it did waste time. And ultimately, that's exactly what post-game Strong needs to do. If they can take it to overtime, anything's possible, because then we could see an Imperial overcommitment. That said, there's an overcommitment in defense, but Dipsy's coming out with the demos again. No need to worry about offense when the attack has taken out of the play. Nice awareness from him once again. I'm loving what I'm seeing from post-game Strong in the context of what we saw last series. 1-1, 1 minute left, and that was a loose touch from Rukal where he was looking for the boost and the touch. He couldn't really convert on either of them, but here comes Dipsy now, down the left once again. Raggis comes in with a challenge. Arceus off the backboard. Is there a third? It comes in from Rukawa, but the shot wasn't there.
Man, postgame strong they were looking so great at the very beginning. Right now, it is slowing down. They're not getting their open looks anymore. And as a result, Imperial are just getting more time in the orange half, and that is so threatening for postgame strong. Their clears, I just like how technical they have become. I feel like they're now making better approaches to the ball, making better touches, and coupled with the fact that they are finally putting a little bit of thought where the ball is going to go after their touches, that's allowing them to have so much more control over the field. They should be going into the overtime. Actually, Dipsy in front of the net. Lovely touch, but a little bit too high and too wide. That's going to be an overtime, and really, with the way our predictions went before this game, and with the way this series so far is being unfolding, postgame strong are really happy about how it's going to go. Overtime, yeah, we'll take that.
They should be delighted. They should have converted that buzzer beater 100%, but they should still be happy. They've taken it to overtime, 1-1. So that it's not even a 0-0 overtime, they've scored. But here comes Raggis. The aerial plays undo all the good work, and Imperial are 1-0 up in the series.
Rough. Everything about aerial plays and postgame strong, frequent inability to deal with them has been said, and as a result, well, you have it. Imperial getting back against postgame strong just off the fact that postgame strong weren't able to clear the ball out of their own corner, and the moment the ball is anywhere higher than 5 inches from the ground, it's really not working out for them. Something needs to change, but hey, this has been even better than we just saw from their game against Bad Dudes. There has been a lot more reason, there are a lot more sense behind their movement, and if they continue on the same path, then I feel like the postgame strong would be able to even surprise Imperial with a game or two.
I have got no complaints about postgame strong in this game because they have improved tenfold on what they showed us in the previous series. Had that buzzer beater shot been on target, had it been converted, it's game 1 to post-game strong. There's no way that Imperial come back from that quickly, especially Ardner showing of what was an interesting series. Chuvas definitely not looking like he's been put into the striker role that we knew him so well from with Wee Ite. It does look like he's going to be playing anchor, if not that, then box to box. Getting a little bit more creative, very much cleaning up mistakes in defense, as we've seen Tagmata do this season. So it looks like they are going to be trying to fit a tank into the family sedan-sized hole, as the case is on this particular occasion.
If we're going to go, excuse me, if we're going to go past with that comparison, I don't think they will be able to do it. That actually sounds absolutely impossible.
It does sound impossible, doesn't it?
No.
Not with that attitude, though, Jam. Not with that attitude.
Sorry.
Number 2.
Coach, Coach pep talk. How are you going to win with that attitude? Please, Ireland.
Here's the thing, right? Tanks can just run through walls. The hole will be non-existent. Yeah, exactly. Right, game number 2. Let's focus on some non-whimsical commentary, shall we? And the tank comes in with a shot of his own. Dipsy with the save. It's been early pressure from Imperial, but here comes Dipsy. It's 1v1, tries to get the dunk on Raggis, open net, and Doovie just gets there first.
Rough for post-game strong, but opportunities are presenting themselves. Imperial are making mistakes, post-game strong are crossing the final third, into the final third with more confidence. And just the fact that we are seeing all these chances, we're able to say open net opportunity, already means a lot for post-game strong.
Here comes Chuvas. Rukawa with the touch away to midfield. Doovie on the return. Arceus with the dunk, but Chuvas gets the long booming clearance downfield. That's so weird to say. Chuvas with the clearance. Deary me. Raggis with the demo on Dipsy. And Arceus with the demo on Radgis. 2v2 briefly, but Doobie tries to thread the needle. Dipsy on the return. He's demoed again for the second time in the space of 2 minutes. And Radgis now, here we go. He's going to try and run interference once again. Rukawa up high. Chuvis down to the sidewall. Gets it over Arceus once again. Rukawa calls him off. Gets the clearance downfield. It's on the crossbar. Doobie with a loose touch. Rukawa goes high again. Where's Dipsy? Dipsy off the crossbar. Come on! Come on! Goal for Rukawa! Constant pressure, constant stretching of the defense, and Post-Game Strong take the lead once again.
Post-Game Strong set up a play, they execute a play. Radgis decided to go for a little bit of style save upside down from the ceiling of the net. Would have looked absolutely amazing and most likely would have netted them the goal, because a clear happening from that position, that just straight in your opposition net, and Post-Game Strong were already all three in the attack. But he missed, and Post-Game Strong are in the lead. And Coach Ireleak is so happy to see that his team do this.
I've gone from disappointed dad to proud dad. All you need sometimes is a little bit of tough love. That said, there's still flaws. And wow, Chuvas almost exposing that with a laser beam of a shot. 2 minutes for Post-Game Strong to survive. Can they do it? Chat, they need your energy. Chat, they really, really need your energy now. It's back to 1-1.
They sort of still need all of the energy you can take. And surviving for 2 minutes, I don't think that's a modus operandi for them. And definitely not Arceus going for the same ball as his teammate was going for, unnecessarily taking himself out of the play, not recognizing that he's just too far away to even make that approach. His teammates already didn't have it in that situation, but at the very least they will have someone on the ground. A little bit more calm, a little bit more collected, and Post-Game Strong will be able to fix their defense as well, even in the face of someone like the tank Chuvas making these shots.
There's a little bit of indecision there from Dipsy. He could have gone for the boost steal. He chose not to in fear of Chuvas coming out and effectively getting it past him and opening the defense once again. Dipsy with another missed touch there. I think he can afford a couple of those because he has been, again, by miles and away, the best player on Post-Game Strong. Double commit on defense. Rukawa, you need to touch this. He does so. Down to the corner. Wasn't the best touch. Doobie, Chuvas gets it off the corner once again. Gets it past one. Rukawa, it's all three in defense. That they'll probably need them at this point. Oh, wow. Chuvas with, I don't even know what part of the car he used to get that much power on the shot, but it was impressive nonetheless. As we head into the final minute, Radgis taking out Arceus. Chuvas! And that is the goal from the retired tank himself. It's 2-1, disadvantage Imperial.
Just look up for how deep he goes, but he feels like, hey, I've got this. My team is reasonably midfield positioned. If a block comes, if a rebound comes, we still have it. So he just sees it. He feels that the goal is going to come, and Post-Game Strong are not ready for a sudden explosion of aggression from Imperial, from Chuvas. They net the goal, and bam, there goes the lead. 40 seconds Post-Game Strong. With the way they have been performing so far, it's still doable for them. Turning this into the overtime, getting past Imperial. They only need one good string of passes, and nobody was closing down on Doobie. Nobody was seeing as Doobie was receiving this pass in midfield as this was shot. Rukawa just abandons the net completely. They in their minds, a shot wasn't a possibility. In this case, they just abandoned the play thinking, we have a moment. You don't have a moment, not in this level.
Abandoning the defense is quicker than I abandon my responsibilities when it comes to household chores. I had to do them today because I've been putting them off for so long. And that is a real shame for Post-Game Strong. I've gone back to disappointed dad, I think. Jam, I've gone back to disappointed dad. Ooh. No, okay, no, I'm still disappointed. It's the simples. It's the simples that they've just forgotten once again. And I feel like, you know, although Chuvas' goal was a bad setback, it's almost like they're just down tools immediately. And Imperial are now on match point. If that was as good as Post-Game Strong has to give, then it really is going to be heading for that 3-0 sweep that we were fearing at the beginning of this series.
They're, again, they disappointed that our league. I still feel like that love that you gave them for just a little bit, and despite the line between love and disappointment being a pretty fickle one. Hey, Postgame Strong
really
are looking stronger, I feel, in this series than they have been. If it wasn't for Chuvas, who knows how the series is going to be going. Well, Tagmata is that solid player, making sure that his teammate is still staying strong. Postgame Strong might have thrown a couple of curveballs, but there needs to be a whole slew of various pitches, let's just say that. We're still going with baseball metaphors. And Postgame Strong have a couple of tricks up their sleeve, but if those tricks don't work and they are forced back into their own half, the same old problems still show in a defense. And we hate to harp on that, but still, many things are going wrong for them.
Yeah, it's why they're losing the game, Jam. They took the lead for the second time in a row, and they couldn't convert it into a win. That doesn't tell me that their offense is terrible. It tells me that their defense can't keep out Imperial. And if you can't keep to a scoreless game, then that says to me that your rotations are bad. Because in theory, the rotations should cancel each other out, and it should be the solo, individual, or team plays that really make the difference in a Rocket League game. I think that the rotation is just the biggest problem that the Postgame Strong is dealing with, which again, considering that this team is one of the only two teams to stick together from Season 3, remains inexcusable. I can have my proud moments seeing how this team has progressed from one of the worst series in the BESL so far to such an improvement on such a different scale. Arceus, who's been the missing man for so much of Postgame Strong's season, comes up with a beautiful upper 90 finish in the first 30 seconds.
Postgame Strong managed to catch Imperial in a little bit of a rut, ball bouncing unpredictably, and so two of the players were taken out immediately by that Painter going on the other end of the field. And props to Postgame Strong, Arceus has stayed in the attack looking for any opportunities, which allowed him to actually get on the end of that weird play. And now he's making that save. As sloppy as it looked, the goal was still safe. And Imperial returning on the attack, but Postgame Strong won't be out of players.
He made a save. He made a last-ditch save that was almost certainly going to be a goal if he didn't get there. Chuvas now just choosing to play with the defense. To be fair, it's even if Imperial lose this one game, they're still on match point. Dipsy just returning into the defense, and Doobie, in rotating back as he should be doing, rather unfortunately helped bring the ball back into the blue half. Rather ironic, I feel, as Dipsy. Oh, look at Arceus taking out Rag. Ooh. I don't know what just happened there, Jam. What I do know is that Arceus got very lucky indeed.
Oof, yeah, he perhaps got the demolition, but then he rushed out of his defense past the ball, and only by partly by the miracle, partly by the fact that Imperial wasn't in the right position and couldn't get there fast enough, the goal wasn't scored against Postgame Strong. That was just reckless from Arceus, and he better not do it again lest he want to concede a goal. And right now, again, having to survive, looking for a second goal, and they still haven't scored more than 2 in the series. And knowing that Imperial has been scoring 2, then 3, you know the goals are going to come, and Postgame Strong better hope it's them who are scoring the goals.
Apparently there's a lack of game sound. Mr. Jam, Mr. Moderators, can we have some people confirming on that? Yeah, I think apparently we've lost game sound. So, I mean, we can still watch the action, thankfully, but in the background we'll try and get that fixed up for you all at home. Right, half-time. Half-time, and it is still 1-0 Postgame Strong. Ever in the ascendancy, it seems, when it comes to this series. And if that's going to be the form trend that we see, then that's really good. That's really good Postgame Strong. Chuvas goes up high, but Rukawa, again, committed on the challenge, wins the challenge. Problems in defense for Imperial, as in comes another challenge from Rukawa. Look at this. What a transformation. From a player that was so nervous that he ducked out at the last minute when it came to 50-50s before. It's a revelation. He's committing, not only that, but he's winning the challenges. It's massive for this team. It's massive for post-game Strong Jam. And it's showing 1.5 minutes left, and still they lead.
It is working. It is absolutely working. And on the other end, though, Imperial are throwing themselves at the ball, throwing themselves at these opportunities, but it's not working for them. On the contrary, it's just looking very, very flimsy indeed. It's not sloppy necessarily, but again, no interesting plays, no strong approaches that will allow them to beat post-game Strong. They are not performing as well as I would have expected them. And even Chuvas, in his eternal wisdom and eternal game style, can help post-game Strong.
I not only saw Dipsy get a strong clear off the backboard, but it really does look like Dipsy has just said, you know what, guys? You two focus on keeping the ball in their half. I'm going to stick in net. He has not left his half for the last minute. And you know what? I 100% back that strategy. 100%. If they can just keep Imperial out for 30 more seconds, they've got themselves a game win. Their first game win of the season, lest we forget. Their first game win of the season is on the cards as Rukawa converts, and an empty net, double committing defense from Imperial, and it could be big pogs for the team that props up the table.
No longer the survival for post-game Strong. No, this is going straight to the victory. It feels like Chuvas is getting a bit disheartened. He feels like I'm forced to carry the team right now, and Duvy and Ragas
3-0!
By this point, I'm feeling like, oh my god, we are not performing to our best. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna be that good player. And that touch, Ragas just falls off, doesn't get it. Who was that? That was Duvy. Also, no reaction. 3-0. Post-game Strong. Welcome back into the series. How about that reverse sweep? Of course, it's counting the chickens so early before they hatch that it's not even funny. But hey, we are currently at the end of game number 3, and this turnaround is something that I really didn't expect for post-game Strong. What an effort.
Jam, look what's happened to my boy. Look what's happened to my boy. They've flourished. They've bloomed like a daisy in summer daylight. They've come good. The biggest winning margin of the series so far, and it comes with a post-game Strong W attached to it.
Oof.
Amazing turnaround. I just hope that they capitalize on this momentum now. I really hope that they've seen what good they have done and they take that forward. And I feel like it all started from Arceus just turning up, because Arceus had good shots on target. Big save. Remember getting that first goal in the first 30 seconds. It gave them the confidence to go forward and really show Imperial up.
Man, they just... I'm loving what I'm seeing, and really just more of the same plays. Post-game Strong.
Yeah.
All these... they've been... A lot of these plays they have been sitting on, really. It has been something that they really should have performed even before, but part of it is that. Part of it is finally they're not only getting the chances, but also finishing them. But also part of it is the fact that their opposition is allowing them to do so. It just seems to be that Imperial, down a player, is not able to show up to this game. It is almost getting ridiculous, as they've got the first 2 games under their belt, and just look at that, almost straight off the kickoff, Rukawa couldn't get it on target.
I feel like there's been a bit of overhype for Imperial, personally. I've had this opinion since the start of the season. And I feel like it's only been backed up by the games that have come thereafter. I was never convinced by them. They never looked like a super attacking outfit. At the same time, they didn't look like a defensive powerhouse. Oh, Rukawa! What? What? How did you make that save?
Anything is possible right now, our league. It's a new post-game Strong. God, I'll work on the joke on their name. In the meantime, Duvy find himself an opportunity, just quickly rotating through the flank, getting himself a touch after this. This wasn't it. Another touch for touching's sake. Dipsy sets up his teammates. Any of these shots off the wall usually are helping your opposition rather than yourself, unless someone from your team immediately goes on the cleanup, and post-game strong do not operate in that way. You're just giving Imperial an easy shot on target.
Okay, you're 1 goal down, but to be fair, again, that wasn't the worst goal. It was a really well-hit shot from Duvi that Arceus has almost redeemed, missing the challenge with there. What a shot on target, requiring Chuvis at his best. And Rukawa again! 2 beautiful opportunities denied by the super sub. Dipsy, infield. Oh, Arceus, you had an open net, my friend. You had an open net after such a good shot earlier. The easy... Well, actually, to be fair, that was a difficult shot to try and hit. So I can understand missing that one. Is Dipsy, is that on target?
That is on target, especially if Dooley misses it. Great small touch. Actually, initially it wasn't looking like it was going to go in. But it just sails, and Dooley goes... He dips a little bit too far to the left and can't reach it. Perhaps the ball can lose. Whatever that was, back into the action. Our post-game strong, and... Well, this is a turnaround and a half. Despite that 1 goal conceded, I'd still feel like the post-game strong are looking like the strongest of the 2 halves. And no. Just be honest. Folks, you hate to see it, but at the same time, oh, you love to see this. You love to see this. The series has been turned on its head. Arceus upfield. Oh, what a pass! What a pass! No! Oh, Rukawa. He missed the touch again. Chuvas with a missed touch in defense. Duvi away. I'm getting so excited by what I'm seeing. I was like, you suggested the reverse sweep, and I'm like, oh, he's just having a joke, isn't he? It's going to be back to form in game number 4. You watch. Oh, what a passing play! What a passing play! And it wasn't good. Okay, now it's converted. Nice job, Dipsy. What's happening? What's happening in this series? I don't understand. Well, it is a pretty nervous affair for Imperial and post-game strong fans. For the neutrals, though, and I think we should be considering ourselves neutrals as well, despite our league's love for post-game strong. This is one of the most exciting matches you might see today. What is going on? Quick moves. This is 2-2, 4th goal of this game, and just a series of misses, not quick enough. Rukawa just goes up straight. He was the last player in the rotation still to make an attempt on that shot, but he was way too late for that challenge, way too late for demolition, and perhaps was better suited in the net. But his angle of approach, he was just rushing straight down to the net. Left little chance for him to stop. Hey, BESL, can you fire the Iroly guy? He's screaming and getting too excited. Nonsense! If you can't get excited over this, then you have no personality, good sir. Off the backboard, Arceus with so clear. I think he saw Dipsy there. He was on the retreat, however, couldn't do much. Ragis, that's a soft shot. Rukawa takes control of the situation. Gets it into the midfield. Chuvas tries to meet it. Doesn't help himself, actually. Throws it straight to Rukawa. Still there in the danger zone, but Duvi sweeps in to come and get this one away. Good challenge, though, from Dipsy as well. Chuvas, again, soft touch down to Ragis. Arceus takes out Ragis before he can get the shot away, but Chuvas is denied by Rukawa once again. Something that I don't think we'd be hearing in season number 1, but here you have it. Chuvas being constantly blocked by post-game strong squad. And it's seemingly it's the norm. Look at a chance. Oh, wow. Post-game strong have definitely piling up under pressure, constantly putting up players in positions where they can continue the attack. And that defense of Imperial is just getting stretched thinner and thinner. Oh, wow! Still not in. How close was that to a save from Arceus? It actually did register as a save, but he could not deny him. He could not deny him. 3-2 to Imperial. They are 59 seconds away from closing out this series. And Jam, I feel they need to, because if post-game strong can get back into this again, if they can somehow rescue a win from this situation, I mean, they could take the series.
They could genuinely take the series. RCS! Oh, goodness me. Chuva standing in the way. Dipsy doesn't go on target. 40 seconds left.
It was Tanks or Chuvas' perfect approach to the ball. He left absolutely no gap for that ball to sneak in through. And Arceus low on boosts, couldn't recover quickly enough to be there before Chuvas. They're still looking for it. Arceus will be looking for his teammates in the midfield and now setting up on the backboard yet again somewhere where Postgame Strong previously were struggling to defend. Now I feel Postgame Strong's backboard plays are the best position for them. They're utilizing it so well.
10 seconds to save their season. Arceus up high. Dipsy!
What an
Dipsy!
angle.
Almost with the angle. But away it goes despite Arceus' demo. Imperial win the series, but goodness me, did they suffer a scare. It didn't even go to game 5, Jam. It was 3-1 overall. But post-game Strong, after me slating you, properly slating you, I was saying to the guys in the background, that's probably the worst I've slated a team since I started casting Rocket League for a year. I feel deservedly so. Be proud of yourselves. That was a performance and a half. You deserved to go to game 5, I feel. I think it was unlucky in a lot of situations. Okay, you still lost the series, but yeah, be proud of yourselves. I retract my previous statement. You deserve to be here. You deserve to be here after that 100%.
Right, well, they had a incredibly strong opponent against them in the first week, Postgame Strong, and that series they perhaps could have taken something away from it, but it would be tough for them. Here though, today, after those two series, despite losing them, despite eventually going 0-3 and most likely kissing their LAN hope is goodbye, two of the top teams will be going through with 5-2, 6-1, 7-0 perhaps result. 4-3, the best possible result remaining for Postgame Strong, not gonna do it. But these two series is something they can really learn from, something finally they can analyze, because during the first week there's almost nothing to analyze on it. And I hope that the remaining of the season, Postgame Strong blooms into a wonderful team, something that I've shown us today, just right now, just a minute ago, and take that and at the very least be that spoiler, be that gatekeeper for remaining teams for remaining season, or come into the season number 3 and completely demolish everyone. I will have more on this game later on, but first a little ad break, do nip out and then nip back in. We'll be right back.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Gave you another name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
Folks, welcome back to the third week of action here at BSL for Rocket League. Jar of Jam, that fella is still Ire League, and he's looking much more excited for what just happened because the team that he has been cheering for, a team he has been supporting oh so much, has unfortunately lost post-game strong despite their best efforts. And I'd say those were the best efforts you could have possibly expected from them. Unfortunately, they lost.
Jam, I'm really happy because I don't like ever being negative as a caster. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with the job. You're not a good caster, I don't think, if you can't get critical and analytical about something. And sometimes that goes hand in hand with poor plays. And what we saw from post-game strong over the last two series was a transformation from a team around my level at Champ 1 Diamond to a team of high Champ 3 Grand Champ place. I mean, it was brilliant that they really took their bad performance and turned it on its head. They fixed so many of the wrongs, and ultimately it was just that final little bit of lacking quality up front that saw them ultimately lose the series. There's a lot of heart to take forward though from post-game strong. They can work off that, and even if their land hopes may be over, they can still finish the game, or they can still finish the series strong. Speaking of land hopes though, this series though, man, this is an important one. This is a really important one. Bad Dudes, after seeing them up against post-game strong in series number 1 today, they're on 2-1, and they have the potential to go 3-1, but standing in their way is Team Black Diamond, touted by many as the main challengers to Backflip Boys for that second position in the league. That would see them through to LAN, presumably to face the Time Chasers. Again, this is all preseason prediction stuff. That said, Bad Dudes are coming off the back of a pretty decent showing against Post Game Frog. I don't think it was spectacular, but they did do a lot of stuff right. Black Diamonds, however, have a lot in their locker. Primer, excellent pickup. Keo, Frosty, looking like a real step up actually in form from Season 3. The X-Scavenge outfit is really looking like a shining outfit now. Their only loss to Time Chasers. I don't think they can take too much negativity away from that performance, especially as they took Time Chasers to game number 4, game number 5.
Game number 5, indeed. Yeah, that was the that was the first time that Time Chasers have actually lost a game, and up until the very end, it was looking like Black Diamond might as well take the whole series to go with it. That would really put a big dent into the pre-season plans for Time Chasers. Time Chasers did persevere, as we would expect them to do, but this immediately showed that Team Black Diamond will be just exchanging blows with the best of the teams in the league. And since they don't have to play Time Chasers again, and they can now go on a full demolition run, look at that 6-1, I think, with a lot of confidence. If it wasn't for a couple of surprises here and there, though, because there definitely are going to be surprises. We already saw a couple. Bad Dudes might be one of those teams that can throw that surprise to Team Black Diamond. Wanskong, Dr. Zunal, Haloom. Let's just say that against Post-Game Strong, well, that was a Post-Game Strong, I don't know, still frozen from hibernation. They came out of Chaotic Cask and just were still looking around and asking, what's my name? What is this R? What we're playing? Then, fortunately, they unfroze, they got their memories back and started playing some brilliant Rocket League. Just a moment ago, you saw the stats from a previous game on your screen, and you could see just how close both these teams were. A reminder, that series ended 3-1 in favor of Imperial, but you wouldn't be able to say that because, based on stats, both of these teams were within an inch of each other. Really, shot-wise, like one each way, more saves for Post-Game Strong, and it just shows that they really have been working that much better in the defense. So the fact that it has ended that way, it's a big shame. And Post-Game Strong, you did your absolute best, but now Bad Dudes will have to say, all right, that first game was a little bit warm up for us as well. Now this is the real deal. What can we do against Team Black Diamond, against Frosty, who I still feel is one of the best players on that team, for Prima, who has been growing into his own force on that side as well. Now that he has exchanged side just a little bit, and Kiev just rounds out that squad really well. I can't exactly say that there's a one weak spot on that team. Everyone there know exactly what they need to do, and they're doing their best.
Absolutely. I echo those statements across the board. Reiterating, it's not end of the world if you lose this series, but you get the impression that winning this series would mean a lot going forward. Again, Black Diamond, they're looking to go 2-1. They're looking for a positive game ratio. Bad Dudes can go 3-1, Jam, and they would end the week, if they were to end the week on 3-1, in the LAN qualification spots, given they would have played one game more than Backflip Boys. But that sort of, it's very much like a mental boost, isn't it? That for 1 week they can say, hey, we were in the LAN places, we actually quite like it here, let's try and stay.
It's pretty comfortable in there, although there's a lot of cushioning from underneath all these teams. The problem is, though, these teams are not only serving as a cushion, they also have claws and are going after you any moment they can. So it's going to be tough. But yeah, just based on the current position of these teams in the standings, knowing that Team Black Diamond are currently on 1-1 record, Bad Dudes are 2-1, they're in direct competition with each other, and Bad Dudes going 3-1, that'll be extra something for them. For Team Black Diamond to go 1-2, and that puts a big if and maybe by the end of the season, because 5-2 is not as comfortable as a result as I'm pretty sure they would have hoped, and most likely they'll be tied with another team for that very, very important second spot.
And ultimately, I feel like if you're Backflip Boys, you're going to be watching this series with particular interest, because I don't know what final game difference you have for Backflip Boys going into the season, Jam. I said that they were going to go 6-1, dropping their only series to Time Chasers. To be fair, Backflip Boys have been looking so-so. They've not looked as good as they did in Season 3 LAN. and I feel like they'll be looking at these teams extra carefully, both Bad Dudes and Black Diamond, because ultimately, if they want to get to land themselves, then they're going to have to dispose of both of these teams. And I think up until that point in the season, it'll probably be the toughest challenge yet. Let's get started then in game number 1, and instantly Black Diamond with a goal. Keo with the full court carry.
Dr. Zul just couldn't read it, sitting so comfortably in the net, trying to figure out, went for it way too hard in the spot where Keo was a minute ago. Not where Keo is gonna put that ball, but where Keo was sort of approaching. But he got a turn on his car, he just got a daft touch to the side. Dr. Zul unable to read what should have been really a pretty comfortable save for him.
What a good show of sportsmanship. I realised that we got our in-game chat turned off, but what a lovely show of sportsmanship from one skunk. He was worried about Frosty's ping, bless him, thinking we don't want to beat them if they're down a player. Frosty showing his ping is just fine. No need to worry whatsoever. Another full court carry, this time from Frosty. Just over 30 seconds elapse, and is already a tall order for this Bad Dude squad in game number 1.
Oh, how
really
about
tall order.
3?
Oh,
nope, not yet. But really, it's looking like third goal is just around the corner for Team Black Diamond, or a third goal in total. There you have it, Bad Dudes. Not exactly a let's just almost call it a full... Ball carried itself around the full court, and then Hulum just said, well, thank you for being here. I'm just gonna gently touch you, put it straight on target. Great counterattack, Bad Dudes back within 1.
So many carries today. And it's back to a 1-goal game. All of a sudden, things not looking too bad for Bad Dudes. They've woken up, but I don't think they would have enjoyed giving up 2 goals so early in the tie. Yes, they've been able to peg one back, but even still, not nice. Frosty with the demo on Dr. Zul in midfield, and Halum didn't jump for the ball, and Frosty nicked it off him, but it's still orange offensive with the big clearance here. Keo, nice touch. Dr. Zul hands it back to him as he goes around the corner. And in comes Frosty looking to wrap his car around this one. Goes high off the crossbar. Is there a follow-up from Primer? Yes, but it goes high wide and not at all handsome. Dr. Zul is once again beaten to the ball by Keo. Keo is just flying into these challenges, and Bad Dudes are struggling to contain him.
They're sitting in their net feeling that, man, we just need to be extra careful. Making sure that we see that he's coming, we make sure that we block him. But Frosty, together with Keo, is just unrelentless. He constantly goes and tries to bring the ball down for his teammates up in the air, going against Bad Dudes. While he can't do it so far, he gets past Bad Dudes' defenders, which really is just looking threatening, saving that opportunity for another day, and just making sure that Team Black Diamond not only reserve this scoreline of 2-1, but even increase it to a 3 or 4.
Primer had the entire goal mouth at his disposal, and he chose to shoot it in the place where the one car was. Primer coming in from the ceiling. One skunk wasn't too sure what to do with that, and ultimately Dr. Zul gets it away. Look at this, nice touch from Keo. He saw that there were 2 onrushing players, but Halum cancels out his efforts here and brings it back into the midfield. Back pass to Dr. Zul. It comes off the top of the box. One skunk and Keo both missing the ball entirely. In comes Primer and another defender, both of them missing the ball entirely. Frosty goes up high. Primer tries to win the challenge. One skunk wins out himself, but Frosty on the sidewall sees Primer midfield. Shot goes wide. Frosty keeps the play alive, goes up high once again. He's going to follow up on his own shot straight at Dr. Zul. Out from the back. Keo should deal with this in midfield. And is he going to get the touch? Yes, he is. He's run out of boost, however, and so he's going to try and run interference, but Dr. Zul up high already. Halum down, and Frosty into the midfield. The game seems to have settled down a little bit, Jam, as we go with 2 minutes left on the clock. Ultimately, though, it is still Black Diamond with the goal lead.
It's Black Diamond who are looking for something more convincing. They seemingly are unable to bring that finishing move. Often they're not actually existing in attack, so to speak, not committing with a full force. And Bad Dudes they're just having a lot of troubles of their own. Lots of issues in the defense, a lot of misses, which just opens their net immediately. And if it wasn't for Team Black Diamond being out somewhere in midfield and defense, then the goals were just gonna be coming in with the Bad Dudes misplaying and overcommitting for their own easy defensive plays.
Keo was trying to find the player located in the corner there, didn't so, and Prime are going to bring this through now to one Skunk, who's straight over to Keo. Halloum with a not so convincing clearance there. Double committing offense, though, might allow the counter-attack. Primer isn't able to get it past Dr. Zool, and Keo, who's rotated back, is going to bring this one out of defense. Halloum returns to sender onto the backboard, but Primer's up first. Dr. Zool tries to get a tricky touch around two players, doesn't so, and Frosty off the crossbar. Second time the crossbar's been rattled by Team Black Diamond. Here comes Keo again. Frosty tries to get under one, but Halloum again on the rotation coming through. Keo round the corner. If that had a little bit more pace, it might have been on net. Primer trying to get the backflip goal. Team Black Diamonds have had some good opportunities to close out this game, Jam. Frosty with the flick up. Keo from the ceiling, and one Skunk was in defense, but it went straight to Frosty, and there is the W picked up then surely for Team Black Diamond. 3-1.
Halloum unable to clear it quickly enough, not enough reaction time, and the bad dudes succumbed to... This time it wasn't like they all missed the ball. No, they all made the touches, but these touches went straight to Team Black Diamond. And it's some of the problems we've seen for post-game strong previously. It's some of the problems that even, I believe, Imperial have shown us. The fact that not always they're going for some flash, or at least trying to go for some flashy plays in the defense, but more often than not it's hurting them. And if you miss, if your teammate then immediately misses on the clear and you get your nets also open for your opposition, well, it's no surprise that the goals are coming in, especially with the amount of shots that Black Diamonds are putting on. Look at that, it is 13 shots and no signs of stopping for that team versus only 2. Great conversion rate for bad dudes, 2 shots, 1 goal, 50%. That's as best as you can do. Not when you get scored. Another 3 are getting scored against you. And Black Diamond started off strong. Started with an explosion of goals, really. Bad dudes managed to get claw back just barely, but it's not enough. They need that much more. They need a humongous effort right now to stop Black Diamond, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the face of the game and you say, oh, that was a really competitive first game, but I mean, realistically, Black Diamond just had them under their palm all game long. And as I was saying, even during the course of that game, they really should have won that series more comfortably. I feel the scoreline flatters the bad dudes. Not too much, but really we should have been looking at maybe 4-5-1 as opposed to 3-1. Bad dudes, as I say, they kept it competitive, and yes, they had a 50% conversion rate, but only 2 shots on target. Worrying signs going into game number 2. And Dr. Zool's going to pick up early possession here. Gets the flick over Primer, but doesn't beat out Keo. Here comes one Skunk. It's 2v1 briefly, but Frosty does so well on that corner just to deny the pass infield. Halloum does eventually get it in, but it's far too rapid, and his team weren't on the same wavelength to try and have a shot on net. Primer taking out Dr. Zool. He actually already got the Executioner medal last time out after picking up 3 demolitions, and Primer's now going to pick up a goal for himself. 30 seconds not even gone, and it's advantage Team Black Diamond once again.
Bad Dudes were down a player, and that's why Halloum were the last bastion of hope for Bad Dudes. He didn't get a connection on it, and all of a sudden, all of the 3 Bad Dudes players in one corner of the net, the ball, and the rest of the Team Black Diamond players in the other corner of the net. 1-0. Well played, well demolished, and well opened. Team Black Diamond continue on the pressure that they've started in game number 1.
Keo trying to go for the chip. Halloum gets the block. Frosty gets the pop over 1, but Dr. Zool gets the block. That said, the net's starting to open up. Keo almost with the impossible goal, and there were 3 plays in defense denying Frosty from a second himself. And finally, the clearance coming downfield, and almost an overcommitment from Team Black Diamond. Keo, I think, thankful that the ball, A, was slow enough and also going wide, that he was able to stall for time a little bit. Halloum. It's Primer, but look at this. Dr. Zool lies in wait. He gets a shot on target, denied by Keo. Frosty, second touch, goes straight to Keo once again. Infield, Primer, past 1. Keo still upfield, but Halloum with a big block. That said, he wasn't able to deny 2 of them. Frosty throwing himself at that, And it's 2-0 Black Diamond.
Just too many players. Haloom had the player stopped Keo from taking some stronger shot, but still, if there's 2 against you and you're not changing the flow of the ball, that's what Black Diamond were expecting from the start. They were expecting the ball to bounce from the wall, get into the way of one of the players coming in through. Your basics, your usual stuffs, and your another attempt at a net. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Black Diamond. They have a plan. That plan involves setting up a player who's setting up the play and a player who's executing on it. And you can see it constantly, and Bad News really need to wisen up for that. The passes are gonna come.
Should have been 3-0, should have been 3-1. Good chance there for Bad Dudes to at least bring it back to 1 goal. Dr. Zool beats out Frosty, and in comes one skunk. He just chucked it. He yeeted his own car at that, but to no avail. It's still 2-0. Haloom goes central for Dr. Zool towards the target. Frosty with the save. Haloom. Here comes one skunk once again, but Primer with the block. Dr. Zool now on the far wall. Brings it in field. Frosty again. What a touch! He stopped the ball in his tracks. And Dr. Zool now looking to get something done with Haloom. Primer again. The defense from Black Diamond, even in overcommitting sometimes, so strong.
Yeah, you have to give credit for Team Black Diamond. While the shots from Bad Dudes are coming in, those are usually long-range, mid-power efforts, and someone from Team Black Diamond is always in the net, and the clear that they make leave absolutely no second chances for Bad Dudes. Nothing for them to continue on, and they just neutralize a possession by Bad Dudes and try to get something done on the other end of the field. Well, Bad Dudes trying to figure out how on earth are we going to break this down. Some great ideas, some fast plays that they're trying to execute, but sometimes they just get into each other's way, two of the players trying to go for the same ball, but from different angles.
Primer trying to get his way through the crowded forest that was the defense of Bad Dudes. And now it's a Bad Dudes counter-attack, although Frosty looking to initiate a counter-attack of his own. Keo with the block on one skunk. Here goes Primer. This Black Diamond team is just hooked up. Absolutely hooked up. The plays, the awareness, the rotation, all coming through just so cleanly. Yes, not everything is coming off, but
oof, this is coming up
sometimes
perfectly.
They do. Yeah, and that's Frosty with his second. That's 3-0.
Oh man, you just love Frosty going for these ones. Brilliant pass. First of all, Prima setting up the backboard play to a T. And then Frosty with a perfect follow-up. Bad Dudes, well, meet your doom. It's Black Diamond against you, and it's not looking nice for this game number 2. Even with the shots that you've been taking, I wouldn't be surprised that by the end of this game, the shot count will be pretty similar. Wouldn't be even surprised if Bad Dudes might have more shots, just with how many attempts they made at a target. It's just that they weren't as threatening at what Team Black Diamond was throwing against them.
Keo, again out from the back, a minute left to score 3 in a series where Bad Dudes have only scored once. Tall order indeed. Big win there in midfield from Haloom, but again, Primer, though he was demolished, got the clearance. One skunk. Can't keep possession. Frosty can't keep possession himself, but Keo's there, and Frosty, I think he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Bumps coming through as well. One skunk misses his touch. Just needs to get it centre, but Keo again. What an execution in midfield. What brilliant foresight to think, hey, this guy could have a shot on target if things don't go our way. Removes the threat entirely, and Frosty almost gives it to Primer. Again, not converted. Again, another game which arguably flatters Bad Dudes with how well Black Diamond were playing. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, Jam. But this Black Diamond squad, they are a caster's best friend. Because goodness, are they beautiful to watch.
Lovely. This week with the absence of Time Chasers, who saying that they know how to move the ball around will be a misunderstatement. Or, no, what I'm looking for. Misunderstanding and an understatement. Misunderstatement is a completely new word that they've just invented. Hey, the benefits...
What are you looking to say? What are you looking to say?
I was looking for the understatement. But I merge it with a misunderstanding, so in the end it was a misunderstatement.
Understatement?
Still not right, eh?
What is your understatement?
Oh, right. All right.
That's what I was getting at.
All right. Now I'm gonna figure out exactly what's trying to. It's the idea that I was trying to carry on across was the fact that saying that time chasers know how to pass a ball would be saying nothing. They really know how to move the ball around.
Right, yes. So saying that time chasers don't know how to pass a ball, well, it's just a lie, really. It's wrong.
The other way around. One way or the other, let's get into game number 3 because Black Diamond still have one more to go. But with the way they have been performing, man, no chance of bad dudes. I don't see it coming any other way. There have been no miraculous returns like we've seen from post-game strong. Some little seeds of great play that then almost bloomed into something wonderful. No, it's just bad dudes not really able to figure out what to do against Team Black Diamond. They're just that much faster, that much more creative, and themselves in the attack, bad dudes are struggling to get themselves good chances. Even if they're presented with those, more often than not, they don't know what to do with them.
Hey, the Englishman has figured out how to speak English. What you wanted to say was to say that Black Diamond know how to pass a ball is understatement of the century.
Understatement.
That said, bad dudes also know how to keep a series alive. And they have done so. Haloum just hanging about, goal watching, basically. Right place, right time, nice finish, 1-0, bad dudes.
Could have done a different way from the bad dudes because those were not only Haloum, but it was also one skunk in the attack sitting there, but great vision on the field. Dr. Zul knows exactly where he needs to put the ball. His delivery was perfect. All Haloum needed was then to redirect it into the net. He done so perfectly. And now Team Black Diamond perhaps will think twice before they will give bad dudes an easy clear.
Now here's an issue though. 2 games have gone by, and in 2 games, Black Diamond have scored 3 times. They should have scored more than 3 times in both of those games. So I feel like bad dudes, although they lead this game, they've got a lot more work to do before they can get comfortable and snug in its winning position. From the back, Dr. Zul on target, Primer with the save. Good aggression from bad dudes. Nice control. Keo downfield. Tries to find Primer. He might end up following up on his own shot, but the defense gets there. Frosty tries to get the pinch off the backboard, off the top of the box. Here comes Primer to deny Zul's clearance, but Haloum and Zul working together, leave it now to one skunk, and they slow down the play out of defense. They see how quickly Black Diamond is rotating, and what's really clever, Jam, is they're using that to their advantage, especially with this lead. They see that Black Diamond are rotating so quickly, and they're like, okay, if you're going to rotate back so quickly, we'll just wait and we'll pick up the boost so that when we counterattack or when we have to defend again, we'll be at maximum reserves.
It still feels like the bad dudes are looking for that one chance. They were close to executing on it again. A powerful clear to the blue side of the field that beats every single of Team Black Diamond's players who are still just returning. Couldn't beat Keo on that attempt, but they came this close. And Black Diamond doesn't need to come close. They just come on target. Perfect setup. Frosty. Like, nobody's in net. I see Prima. I see Keo. I see Frosty. I see nobody from the bad dudes. This is your net. You're supposed to be there. Nope, it's a tie game.
What did I say? You're gonna have to score more than 1 in this series if you want to beat Team Black Diamond. Keo into the center. Can they pick up a second now? Can they turn game number 3 on its head? Frosty tries to go around the corner. Dr. Zul goes with the clearance. Keo chooses to meet it in midfield early. Frosty with a nice touch to get it around the defender, but it was too further back in defense. And now here comes the counter-attack. Dr. Zul, Frosty over to the side. Too much commitment in offense, but around the corner again. It's now left down to Keo for the clearance, and one's a little bit too far forward. Forced into the retreat, picks up the 100 boost, and whiffs its touch out of defense. Haloum comes in to clean up, but even that isn't very convincing. He actually wins the challenge on Frosty, however, and that was much needed. It gives a bit of relief to bad dudes.
Bad dudes are looking for a solid play, but I feel like they are struggling a little bit with the roles. I see one skunk committing way too hard with his teammate, then his rotations are out of place, then he trying to move the ball forward, but it's not really working out for him when it's time for him to really commit hard on the ball from the middle of the field. He opts not to go for it. It was hard to see on that angle, but I feel like he should sort of readjust to his teammates, because right now he's not contributing completely to his team's efforts, and being down a player, even being down half a player, so to speak, is already tough enough.
No, they're already down a full player. Primer going for bumps in net as well. Kieran comes out from one skunk. Primer gets it over the aforementioned one skunk, but Halum comes in as the second man. Kyo misses the touch from the top of the box, and Halum's got an open net! 2-1 bad dudes, and that was all down to a 50-50 challenge.
Well, that was also down to Kyo completely missing it on the wall. And Frosty did his best. Credit to him. The turnaround from him the moment he saw this colleague has missed the ball was instant. And yet, couldn't chase Halum, and there you have a 2-1. You needed to score more than one, and you should have expected there coming a flip for Prima. Clean, calm, collected, and Team Black Diamond immediately bring it back within 0, really. It's that game.
What did I say? What did I say? Every game so far, Team Black Diamond have scored 3. And in order to...
You said it, Arlik. You said it yourself just now. I remember it as clear as day. Team Black Diamond score 3. Oh my. Also shows just how late Dr. Zul is to that cheat up in the midfield, because Kyo was a car lengths ahead of him. That's what allowed them to get a shot where Dr. Zul was out. There you have it, another attempt from the kickoff. This time Halum was faster, but immediately blocked. And the bad dude's still in a position to save this, but 30 seconds, our league. 30 seconds. So far, their best game, but can they do it?
And bad dudes are going to have to score 3, not even to win, just to take it to overtime. Could have been 4. Kyo there with the downward shot into the ground. Primer midfield, Frosty! And now they're going to have to score twice more to take it to overtime. Beautiful inward pass here from Primer. The defense was left flailing about like a fish out of water. And Frosty converts. That should be game and series to Team Black Diamond.
I'm not sure what happened to Dr. Zul on that attempt. All I saw him was twirling inside the net. Thought he had an opportunity to come out, but he was just thrown somewhere. Perhaps a bump happened somewhere along the way. One's kind of just shooting on his own net. And really, we usually don't go for MVPs, but if I had to single out one player, someone that I have been noticing again and again and again that has not been pulling his weight, it has been one skunk on that side. Especially in that very last play, if you just take that, he was just going up and down, trying to go for something 2 out of the net, not in a position to really contribute to the play that much. So all we saw was just boost up, jump down, boost up, jump down, miss the ball, concede. And that's a 4-2. Perhaps he is indeed in the slump, as his nickname suggests. But the bad dudes, you can't exactly tell that they are in a slump. They are now in a comfortable position in the middle of the field. It's 2-2 for them, and still a lot to go through. Thankfully enough for them, they have already played against... actually, they haven't played against the biggest threat just yet. They've played against the Backflip Boys. So, still will be pretty harsh for them going against the Time Chasers. But they are currently sitting in the middle field. That, at the very least, top 6 teams are retaining their slot for next season. So, as a result, they will be just sitting comfortably over there and preparing for next season. And really... so far, they're a new team, completely new team. We haven't seen them previously in the BSL leagues, and yet they're showing that, hey, you should be counting for them to upset the apple basket just a little bit.
Of course, Black Diamond move on to 2-1, and that sees them move up the table to overtake Imperial as well on game difference. So that all-important game difference coming into effect. Black Diamond looking good, but we have one more series to show to you. Team Small Brain versus Mind Games eSports. Going into this week, they propped up the table. Post-game Strong has slipped in underneath them, but that series coming up for you after these messages.
Vielä Jons yliviimaa Peetin pidemmän lavasti nuo Gallinin signeträä Peetin Slavia Studion vetämään Återkom ja on nuottaeksi on mustavalla ja viņš atgādināt vēlreiz šogad.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Gave you another name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā visa varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
Folks, welcome back. We're still here with BSL action over at here, I suppose, twitch.tv/BSL.Pro. Yeah. I'm JarvJam, he's our league. We are as good as ever, seeing more incredible Rocket League. What we just saw right now, though, was not as great, at least for one team, and that the name of that team was Bad Dudes, coming 3-0 and not showing much for it, despite their showing at the very first series of today when they were playing against Post Game Strong and getting themselves that win. They unfortunately go 2-2 actually in the end, by the end of this day. And while they're still sitting snugly in the middle of the standings in season, I wouldn't exactly say that this was a performance worthy of the team going to land.
No, I think we very much... I was kind of half predicting it going into the series, Jam, where, yes, they played well, they did the basics well, Bad Dudes, but let's be real, that post-game Strong performance was pretty bad. And I think that any team, if they had turned up, would have beaten post-game Strong in that vein of form. And ultimately, Team Black Diamond are just another tier up. They played particularly well in that series against Bad Dudes as well. I don't think it was just a case of Bad Dudes being bad. Again, they still did the basics well, but they were just steamrolled by Team Black Diamond, and their quality overall, their infield passing, their creativeness, and their ability to come back from a 1-0 deficit as well. Remember, Bad Dudes scored first in that final game of the series, and so I think it was a very complete performance from Team Black Diamond. It was a win that they needed to take if they want to keep their LAN hopes alive.
I think they could have been even more aggressive, score even more goals. You mentioned that. Hey, 3-3, all those 3-1s, 4-2s. Could have been even more goals, but in the end, they did get the job done, and they were looking like a team that can just be confident about their moves. Confidence, perhaps something that was lacking for Bad Dudes. And you can see that on your screens right now. Wasn't the best performance, not the most amount of goals by Black Diamond, but still you could see 10 goals versus 3. A lot of assists, and that's what I'm loving from Team Black Diamond. The fact that almost every goal, bar 2, was assisted by them shows exactly what their playstyle is, and that is we're moving the ball around each other. We're making passes. That's how we're getting the goals. Solid in defense and great conversion rate as well. 37% is as solid as it gets. So, great job by them. They're really pretty happy with their performance this week. But let's get into our very last match of today, and that'll be, of course, Team Small Brain versus the Mind Games eSports.
Oh, from a potential clash for LAN to a scrap for relegation. These two teams were bottom of the table coming into this week. They only aren't there now thanks to post-game Strong dropping to 0-3. We need to start with in the obvious place. I feel Team Small Brain. We talk about how series on another day could have turned out differently. Well, Team Small Brain could just as easily be on 2-0 than where they are now on 0-2. And a lot of their performance was completely and utterly brought down to one player. And that one player, I think you all know who I'm talking about. Mex showed both brilliance and just a complete collapse. All in the space of 2 series. It was mind-boggling at times what was happening to him. And that uncertainty regarding his play spread to the rest of the team, and big confidence almost taking a win against Time Chasers. They almost beat Time Chasers, just eroded utterly. The quality's still there though, Jam. The quality is still there, and after having a week off, I think that they have surely got to take more positives going forward, negatives, up against Mind Games, who look so. Surely, for me at least, they've got to be favourites going into this. Maybe not a 3-0 sweep, as I might have predicted based on some of their gameplay from last week. But overall, I mean, there's enough there, surely, to take the W in 4.
Man, it's going to be tough for them, really, comparing 2 of these teams. Of course, there's Timotheus, and on the side of Mind Games eSports, who we're really thinking him and Flake are perhaps helping out MacGyver in many of the ways. Team Small Brain, of course, with their players. PETA, actually, I would single out PETA as the best player right now on Team Small Brain. If Max can actually get and start being really consistent, then Team Small Brain has a great chance of actually going in through. It's a tough situation for both of these teams to be in. I feel like this series will come down not to who will bring out the best secret play, the best flashy 1 in a million result, something that's perhaps one shot that they've been practicing 100 times. I feel like in this situation, knowing how both of these teams play, it might be just who keeps out the most amount of mistakes from their play, because we know that there's a lot to look at in that department. And just be stable, just be consistent rather than shoot for the moon and miss constantly.
Yeah, 100%. So you might be looking, by the way, at the scores if you weren't watching last week and thinking, wait, what is iReLeague talking about? They lost 3-0 to Team Small Brain and they lost 3-1 to the bad dudes. How can you justify it? Trust me, go back and watch those series. They had some excellent gameplay in amongst those, and it was different to Mind Games. Mind Games looked more competitive in both of their games so far, or both of their series so far, rather, but they never looked like winning, in my opinion, did Mind Games. They were competitive, but they never looked like closing out the series, whereas Team Small Brain looks like they could really kick on and do something else, especially up against Time Chasers, which, as I say, they came so close to winning games against them. Let's see what both of these teams can bring to the table today. Mind Games have picked up more game wins over the season, and so, you know, there's of course some positivity to take from those routes. Let's set up the best of 5 then. Your final best of 5 of week number 3, and it's an instant kickoff win for Pater, who throws this one towards the net. Flake misses his touch, and any commitment from any blue player would have seen a goal instantly for Team Small Brain. They retreat, and Timotheus missing his touch in the corner. He's got 0 boost, returns it to Flake. Here comes MacGyver, and off the crossbar it rattles Mex into the corner.
So eager to make that shot. MacGyver once again found himself in a position of that shooting player sitting in that midfield. He feels comfortable there. He knows that his teammates will be delivering some shots, and that one just fell into his lap. This one, led by his teammate. But as it sometimes happens, too much mustard. But look at just how well Mind Games eSports are keeping the pressure on Team Small Brain. Something about the lack of a clear and constant supply of players coming in and blocking any of these shots allowed Mind Games eSports to spend the majority of that first minute on the blue half. But as that minute run out, Peta, individual effort, again, round the clock, all over the field, and misses here, there, and everywhere. Just 2 touches, really. I think all Peta did was 2 touches, or 3 at most. And bam, you have a goal, bro.
Let's not deny how difficult that shot was as well. I was looking at it, I was thinking, how on earth did he score that? But it was just a really nice touch. That said, awful defense, and Timotheus equalizes within 15 seconds.
Oh, and Peta was going hard at it, but look at that, you have to have someone defense. Peta was roughly that player, the third one back. But it also means that it seemed like Team Small Brain were not expecting them requiring a rotation as fast after that kickoff. Well done on the challenge, though, to bring that down against someone the caliber of Peta. It's pretty darn important. But so far, 2 of the import players, 1 German player and 1 Dutch player, have exchanged goals. Now let's see what the Baltic players can do as well.
Blake wanted to get a soft touch there. He can only really hand it off to Rico, but the pinch into the wall ends up with MacGyver, who was going to bring this into the blue half. Double commit on offense. Somehow, it still worked. MacGyver scores 2-1 Mind Games.
Oh, MacGyver stays with the ball. Flake?
Oh, it's actually a bump!
Was it? Wow.
Yeah, he bumped MacGyver, so the flick-up shot had more power, and that's what deceived the defense.
Calculated.
Calculated.
All your calculators in chat. Wow, it's rarely that you see double commit work that way, because Flake, I don't think Flake had any business going for that one, really. MacGyver was continuing with that ball, really. Flake didn't expect his teammate perhaps to stay with it that well, and bravo to MacGyver. He did his best, outplayed 1 player, and then put it definitely on target. Mind Games eSports, look at that. Game number 1 in the lead, and looking like they're going to be sending many more shots in the direction of Team Small Brain's net.
Mex misses his touch from the top of the box. Pater doesn't. Blake intercepts. And here's Mex again. Backboard. Here comes Rico. Timotheus with the save. And Blake looking to initiate a counter-attack. Here's MacGyver. Pater now on the wall. Straight to Timotheus. Goes up high once again. Rico on the backboard. Pinches it off the top of the box. Pater down the wall. Flake slips in between the two to get the touch. Mex hands it off to MacGyver. Here's Timotheus looking for the extra touch. And Rico is there at the far post to get this one downfield.
Once again, Mind Games Esports are not sure who's going to go for the ball. Timotheus and Flake were both in position. It was hard to tell which one of them had a better opportunity, but since Timotheus went for it first, reached it first, and Flake already has committed himself, he wasn't in a position to continue to answer with that ball falling straight into his lap. Mind Games Esports do still find a goal on the attack as Timotheus just gets everyone to go for him, and since Rico was the initial challenger, Pater tried to react. Nobody was left for Team Small Brain in the net to make that save.
I do have to question what Pater thought he was achieving when Rico, in theory, had the ball covered. The only explanation that comes to mind initially is that Pater had no belief that Rico was going to make the save/clearance.
I feel like he was.
And so he committed himself.
I feel like he was trying to read that bounce, but he guessed it absolutely wrong. It befuddled him and bamboozled him. And as a result, just couldn't get on target. Speaking of target, MacGyver, still too much condiment on that ball. He found himself an opportunity. And again, sometimes you can't even say that he found himself an opportunity. And the fact that Mind Games Esports are getting all these chances, that MacGyver, not only they're getting these chances, they're going and attempting these chances, already means so much for teams that sometimes are struggling to even get out of their own half.
Bit too much, were they, lads? As the old men in my town would say. Here comes Mex with a shot wide, of course. The moment that saw it all just completely disassemble for poor old Team Small Brain was that save of what would have been an overtime win against Time Chasers. After that, just all confidence evaporated, and it looks like it's same old. The descent continues. 4-1 for Mind Games. That's their biggest winning margin in a game this season.
They must be proud of themselves so far for their performance. And even with those double commits here and there, being too eager to bring the ball through, they getting open opportunities, which even one player would have sufficed. It just shows that Team Small Brain are being beat that handily. That Mind Games Esports even have two players, well, either in position or out of position, I suppose, not covering any other spaces of the field, and still working out for them well. Well, Mind Games Esports, I think, will be bringing all this energy, all this momentum in the next game. Ooh. Especially if they continue scoring. MacGyver on 2? Really, by this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he had 3 to his name. No, that was only his second one. And right now, it's very important for him to also get on this scoring. Just getting that feeling, getting that, I don't know, a nose for goals. For a team that sometimes is struggling to score them, yeah, it's very important.
In particular for a player who struggles before. I can't remember the last time that MacGyver scored twice. It might have been Season 3. It might have been deep into Season 3. Finally, another response from Team Small Brain. 5-2, the scoreline gets a little less embarrassing. Nice backboard pass, but it was ultimately Timotheus who missed the block. So some hope for Team Small Brain at the very least, Jam. But you've got to say, all three of the Mind Games players are being allowed to flourish. I highlighted Blake and MacGyver last week, and I said, even though they lost the series, they showed some good elements. There was a good base here to work with when it came to the Mind Games squad. The fact that MacGyver's gotten in on the action and should arguably have 4 goals to his name, that's really worrying. That's really worrying if you're Team Small Brain. And the depression that started with that big Time Chasers missed opportunity in overtime, it continues to happen here in week number 3. A comprehensive win for Mind Games in game number 1.
It's hard to say what this is. Is this a clash of playstyles? Is just Mind Games really just swamping down Team Small Brain? Because knowing how well they performed against Time Chasers, and knowing that they could have taken a game out of them, perhaps even 2 games, because those were, what was that, 3-2? 2-3-2 games or 2-4-3 games. Then, of course, there was a demolition of 7-3 or 7-4, but Team Small Brain still step up to the plate so much in that series. Here, I would have expected them to continue that rush, and yet it's the Mind Games who are finding all the chances, getting all the goals. Even opportunities are looking a little bit sloppy, those double commits. Chances that they just go begging. They're still getting so many opportunities, and it seems like the Team Small Brain are unable to A, close the amount of these opportunities down, and B, just stop their opposition from making any results on game number 2. And now I'm not sure who's gonna win it. Mind Games eSports looked so brilliant in game number 1. I'm no longer cheering for Team Small Brain.
Yeah, I mean, they look good. I think this is the best that Mind Games have played at the moment, undoubtedly. But yeah, there's more questions here for Team Small Brain than there are answers at the moment. Good touch there into the midfield. MacGyver. Miss from defense. Mex gonna lob this one downfield. Timotheus to get the touch in the corner. Here's Mex, misses his touch on the wall. That opens it up on the far wall before Rico gets there. Flake with the flick on. Well, that's really fun to say. Flake with the flick on. Excellent.
Flick on.
Here's Mex. Yeah.
Bringing that, what, 2000s? Was that song by Missy Elliott? That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago and very telling of our age as well. Timotheus down from the backboard. Flakes? Wrong player. Flake gets it into the blue half to be picked up by Timotheus, but Mex is going to bring this out. He's down to 0 boost, however, and a real struggle for the blue team to break out to their own half as things stand.
It's not working for them. All of these attempts at a clear immediately found out by Mind Games eSports, and then ball just gets stuck. And that touch, just small touch by Mex, and a small touch by Mind Games eSports, it's seemingly that they just saying, oh no, after you, oh no, after you, oh, be careful. Any follow-up, Rico, such a slow shot, still manages to be the defender of Mind Games. A bit of a mess, our league. Let's be fair. This should have been either a powerful clear from Team Small Brain into the Mind Games eSports half, or the ball coming the other way around. But both teams have exchanged those little weak touches. Ball crawled into the front of the net, will then again exchange slaps, and finally gets on target. Don't think anyone would be happy about the quality of that goal. That went in. Team Small Brain still opened up the scoring, and Mind Games eSports so far hadn't been able to start the same train, the same snowball that had been on in game 1.
I'm gonna go back into my Coach Dad iReleak setting, Jam. It doesn't matter how they go in. That is a lead for Team Small Brain. It is something for them to hang on to. And another good opportunity there shows that the offensive ideas, they're not running out. Here comes Pater. Shot towards net. MacGyver with the save. There was 2 in net. Here comes the counter-attack. Flake helps it on. Mex on the backboard, doesn't get there. Neither does Timotheus. MacGyver and Pater mid in the blue half before Mex brings this out. On his own. Oh, with the fake as well. Timotheus cleans up. Pater gets it past Timotheus. Mex with the back pass. What a beautiful back pass that was as well. Can Pater finish it off? No. Denied by MacGyver on the backboard. But Mex continues the assault. Excellent stuff here from Team Small Brain with just over 2 minutes left.
As far as the back passes go, that was a brilliant one. As long as your teammate is expecting something like that from you, it goes well. Could have gone either way. But you can see that this Team Small Brain has definitely stopped the amount of opportunities that Mind Games eSports are getting. Really, are they getting chances? I see shot on Timotheus. That's about it.
Pater.
And with something like that, look at it. Pater magic in front of the net.
Mic drop. 1 touch, 2 touch. And denying the clearance into the corner. That's now a 2-goal lead for Team Small Brain. And Mind Games have been played. They have been utterly neutralized in the midfield. And Team Small Brain, they've come out here to win the series.
It's only game number 2, but after the game 1, I wasn't expecting much from Team Small Brain. Now, the tables have turned. I'm now questioning myself, what happened with Mind Games eSports, because what Team Small Brain is currently doing is that much more threatening. It just seems like they've taken everything that we said to heart, and Peta is looking for these opportunities, and he's pulling bigger and bigger fishes. That was risky. That was pretty aggressive. But since Flake was backwards for that shot, not ready for a pass to coming through, man, that's a 3-0. That's Team Small Brain with their own version of a train on tracks that doesn't slow down.
We completely ignored the fact, by the way, in that analysis that Rico missed an open net. It should have been 3-0 earlier. Rico has now just missed a clear 50-50 challenge that he should have been going for, that he should have at least been challenging in, and that is 1 goal back for Mind Games.
Quick, decisive, the best thing so far from Mind Games eSports in this game. Problem is that came in almost 4 minutes into the game, and Team Small Brain has already amassed themselves a pretty solid lead. Unless it's a complete another... Yeah, not happening. Unless Team Small Brain completely falls apart, it's not gonna happen. That touch just not working.
Ooh.
MacGyver was there, but he just set up Rico with a perfect pass.
True sportsmanship from MacGyver. How nice of him to set up the pass. So lovely.
Oh, sorry, you've conceded. Here, have it back.
Well, 1 minute left. MacGyver takes out Mex, probably in frustration. Rico. Oh, what a nice... Oh, Rico. Ooh,
That's
Rico.
a hat-trick for him. Rico saw what Peta is doing and thinking, I'm gonna score even better. That is... Alright. Candidate for the best goal of the season. Best goal of the week, I think, so far, for sure.
Best goal of the week, yes. I don't think best goal of the season. There have been some better plays. I do think there was a bit of fortune in that as well. I don't think Rico entirely meant that, but...
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Calculated.
Again, doesn't matter how they go in. Doesn't matter how they go in. 5-1. Yes, you read that correctly. After Mind Games beat Team Small Brain 5-2 in Game 1, it is now 5-1 to Mind Games. If Peta had committed, could have been 6-1. Timotheus towards the net. Rico puts it up onto the backboard, and Peta's there. Welcome back, Team Small Brain, from that first game in the Time Chasers theory. Mex with the save, Peta taken out of defense. Mex is there again. And I think that Mex, we haven't talked much about him, but that's great. That's brilliant. He's been doing some good things. That said, what? How did they save that? I think Flake actually saved it. Flake pulling a Mex. He's pulled a Mex. And Team Small Brain have pulled one out of the bag. It's the same scoreline as game number 1, but totally reversed.
How does that happen? Just how did they go? It wasn't to be until the very last moment where MacGyver just barely gets a touch on it. Doesn't even get the credit, so he didn't get a touch on it. It was Ultimotius. Oh, some weird coincidences going over here, but make no mistake. It's Team Small Brain, it's Rico, it's Peta, and Mex. I think personally he was missing a little bit from this series specifically, and as you said at the start of the series, he's either there or he isn't there. Thankfully, Rico and Peta were recovering from Mex, giving it all on the field and working extra time just to make sure that Team Small Brain turned around what was a dominating game 1 for Mind Games. Now it has been a dominating game for Team Small Brain. Where do we go from here? Either both of these teams just go completely ham, or they smarten up, back down. Oh man, so many opportunities. Mind Games eSports still in this, but so much has gone for them. They've lost all these attempts, they've lost all of these opportunities, and just not getting the same open looks as they've been before.
Look, you say that he didn't turn up. He made a save, okay? He made a save.
Fair's fair.
He had a shot on target.
Technically, that's correct.
He was crucial in setting up a couple of the goals. He's not responsible for the server going down for maintenance, however, so we shall endeavour to get game 3 to you as quickly as possible. I'm with you, though. This game is impossible to predict. It's not often that you have such a commanding scoreline replied to with exactly the same scoreline by the other team. Not often at all. And it's really difficult to tell which teams... I guess you'd say Team Small Brain is in the ascendancy right now. They had the opportunity to reply, and they did so with aplomb. Still some mistakes here and there, but ultimately they are scoring more than the opposition. And as a wise man once told me, you need to score more goals than the opposition to score games, or to win games, not to score games. The man was a little bit delusional, might have been on drugs at the time, who knows. But I got what he was saying, and I'm glad to deliver his message to you today.
Well, thank you for that. Now, wisdom from a very wise man, it seems.
Very wise man, yes.
But what we saw right now from Mind Games eSports, if we discount the fact that the stream of chances that they've been getting game number 1 has sort of dried down, feels like a lot of the goals coming their way were just on the basis of the fact that they've been missing the basic things. So just play comfortable, try to keep up as many mistakes from your play as possible, especially in defense, and then start working up from there. And Team Small Brain didn't listen in the first game, did listen in the second one. Vice versa for Mind Games eSports, it seems. And in this game too, the mistakes by Mind Games eSports were that more crucial. Those misses were that much more important to the game than initially. Also, those double commits that we mentioned in this game weren't helping them really. So as a result, Mind Games eSports succumbs partly to themselves, partly of course to the fact that Peita and Rico have stepped out tremendously in getting themselves so many opportunities on target. Rico with his hat-trick, Peita getting some brilliant shots as well. And I think they will be continuing something of the sort in Game 3 as well. Yep, straight from a kickoff. Mex, someone who has been quote-unquote absent, not anymore. Brilliant setup. And there you have it. Your opener. And Team Small Brain show no signs of stopping.
Mex just said, Jam, put your lid back on the jar, good sir, because I'm here to play, I'm here to turn up. Again, created through Peita, certainly. Big influence from him. But credit to Mex for delivering what was a very solid finish. Good start, Team Small Brain. Peita then. Look at that. What a touch from Peita to get it past 2 players. Flake eventually picks it up. Rico with the touch off the backboard. Mex challenges, wins the challenge. MacGyver gets a touch onto the side wall. But Rico wins this one. Flake misses his touch completely. Big whiff! Big whiff! Who can finish it? The answer's nobody. They not only decide to just leave it, then Mex decides to say, hey, let's just completely cancel out the offensive play, and throws it back into their own half.
No, it's just a reset, Look at that. They've passed it back all the way back, had to rush it to get it, actually, and then started an attack of their own. It worked out in the end. Once again, big brain planes, 200 IQ, and they're still in defense and looking for something. I would prefer Mind Games eSports to be a little bit more decisive when it comes to the clears. On that play where like nothing happened and Team Small Brain retreated.
Oh, MacGyver.
You could see Timotheus and MacGyver trying to figure out who's gonna go for. Timotheus from a standing position then decided to do it. Clear was okay, but then it found MacGyver, and this I think is the case of just you're there and then you just serve your opposition with the ball. Rough on Mind Games eSports, but again, small mistakes. One small touch, then just can go completely against you. Double commit, not enough power. If only that was a team pinch. But in the end, I think they run in each other's way and cancel each other out.
That was a mistake that you tend to cancel out in Gold 3, MacGyver. Never put it into the corner. Never hit it into the corner unless you're hitting it with power and it's going to go up high, forcing the opponent to use some boost in the offense.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's I have no words for it. It shouldn't be happening. Peita almost getting another goal. Arguably that should have happened, but it was a difficult shot to try and convert. Ultimately 2-0, of course, Team Small Brain now. Comfortable lead. Peita up high off the backboard. Timotheus meets it. Mex going to try and get the touch, misses it, but Rico doesn't miss it. Mex going the doomsy dish. The man's getting confident despite still missing some pretty basic touches on the wall.
Or Small Brain scoop, something of the sort. The moment I saw him going on a backboard and going for the challenge, trying to drop the ball down, I held my breath. He came close, but he's feeling like he can set up something like that. The setup from Team Small Brain does fall apart as I think we're trying to set the ball up high for Peita, but Peita said, nope, I'm not going for it. I'm the last player. I'm not gonna risk it. 2-0 is still pretty fickle. We better sit on what we have and play carefully and conservative.
Miss Heku's going to be receiving more compliments from me later. She's just come in with a raid of 53. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome everyone to the BESL. If you're new here, welcome. We're in our final series of the day. It's 2 teams who entered this week as the bottom 2, and it's been a bit of a bizarre one, to be honest, where we have Team Smallbrain recovering from a 5-2 loss in Game 1 to win 5-2 in Game number 2, and they're still going with a 2-0 win here, or 2-0 lead at least for the moment, in Game number 3. We'll see whether they can convert it to a win in the next minute and a half or so. Shot on target from Flake, the save coming through from Riku. Rico. I was getting confused with Heku there. Whoops. Here comes MacGyver. The challenge on Mex. Another 50-50. Pater and the oncoming Timotheus. Flake round the corner onto the backboard. Mex going to throw this one onto the wall. Mex up high again, and MacGyver sends it into the center. Pater throws it up high, and Flake gets there before Mex, who was trying to run interference. The bump on, I think that might have been Pater as well. Mex taking out Flake. Good awareness from Mex again. He's really coming up strong in game number 3 off the backboard from Pater. Rico misses his touch. Pater got the bump on the defender, but now it's an open net situation as Mex is bumped in net. Pater gets back just in the nick of time.
It's weird seeing Mining Games eSports approaching this attack. They brought the ball through. MacGyver couldn't clinch on it, but at the very least, he had T players in support. And Timotheus just not going as aggressive as I would have hoped him to go. He just held back a tad, went for a challenge way too late, and really, they just like we've noticed so many times today, you need that many more players coming in attack. You need that much more reaction and support in the offense to make something going. Otherwise, you bump the ball on the blue side of the field. Nobody gets it there. That ball just gets returned straight back. And right now, Team Smallbrain with their lead, like, to heck with it. Just go for it. Go for any all attack. Go for aggressive play. Perhaps otherwise he would have come. Otherwise, you're just seeing this. That's a 2-0 and a 2-1 for Team Smallbrain. Make that
3-0.
A 3-0. The series still goes the way of Team Smallbrain. 2-1, and that's a match point. And I think in just a moment we'll see the stats for this game, and I'm afraid there are no shots from MG. On how many? Exactly on how many?
No shots? Are you kidding?
Well, not no shots. Almost no shots, and
okay.
Really, 2. That's rough. After what they've done in the previous game, because even after succumbing 5-2 or 2-5 in their case, since they were on losing side, they still had shots to their name. Not here. Mining Games eSports have been completely... Their valve that has been responsible for opportunities in attack has been completely turned down. And with Mex now starting up pretty strong... Look at that. Beta and Mex both assisting each other on every single play. Once again, just proves that they are trying to set up each other. Mining Games eSports maybe are trying to do so, but right now, after the brilliant plays previously, they're failing to do so, and that is hurting their backline so much.
And Rico, who didn't put up a single save last game, comes up with 2 clutch ones in game number 3. Now, it seems like maybe on the outset that Mind Games has completely capitulated, looking so toothless after putting 5 past Team Smallbrain in the first game. I'm getting the impression, Jam, that Team Smallbrain are just turning up now. And that all of a sudden they're finding what made them so successful in that first series against Time Chasers. You know, with, yes, they got a few mistakes here and there, but they're finding their confidence, they're finding their feet again. And they go into game 4 on match point. I wouldn't put it past them, playing up to my predictions of 3-1 here.
Lovely. Everything is coming up our league. And everything's coming up Team Smallbrain as well. Just the quality of their plays when they can execute is really just shows that they did something like that could have even beat Time Chasers. And they did, well, beat Time Chasers in the sense that Time Chasers were put to the wall in that series when Team Smallbrain were playing against them, almost delivering a second shocker the second week. Afterwards, Mining Games eSports starting out with a bang of their own. Lack of a proper clear, paid not enough power, and sort of the Mex and Rika, you could see him there, but I'd say it was Mex's ball. Since Rika was not in positions and Rika sits smack down in the middle of the field, it was Mex's attempt on the wall just to do a powerful clear to the side. Pay to win car!
Pay to win car! We have ourselves a nemesis on the field, folks, and Flake has chosen to change things up with car selection to much good effect. Early doors, nice lead for Mind Games. More to be asked of for Team Small Brain. Rico with the save. Near post, Timotheus misses his touch. But MacGyver's there in rotation. He's going to pick this up now. Up to the backboard. Pater touches over one. Rico with the clearance downfield. And if that had been on target, Jam, that would have been goal number 1 for Team Small Brain.
Unfortunately, it wasn't. They're still sticking in the attack, and it's just getting closer and closer. Ball still continues returning. And just barely they bring the ball out. Finally, a proper clear to the middle of the field. But by this point, Team Small Brain have already finished their defensive rotations and coming back into the attack. No rest for Mind Games Esports, as they had that 1-goal lead. Now they're being tested on all sides.
Pater throws it down to Mex. The back pass just about comes off as Rico is in position to make the save. Tries to get the pinch as Rico fails. Flake with the touch around him. Look to get a nice one off the backboard, but Pater was there. Oh, Mex and Pater both going for it. And Rico's now back in net to try and make a save if there's a shot coming in. Here he comes now around the corner himself. MacGyver with the block. Pater finally gets the clearance, but it doesn't even reach the orange half as Timotheus doubles the scoreline, 2-0.
Mind Games Esports saw that it's fruitless to just push the ball through the flank. There was only someone from Team Small Brain. The return of the ball was just too slow. Team Small Brain were always able to get back, so they retreated, sent the ball not through the wall but through the middle, and with Timotheus being in what I can only describe as the right time and the right place, gets that goal going. All right, Mind Games Esports, it's glad to have you back, especially with what Team Small Brain is currently crushing on top of your heads. It's a storm, but Mind Games Esports are persevering.
Big defensive pogs. Big offensive pogs! 3-0!
It's just like that. 1-2, and Flake finds himself a perfect pass. Nope, just late. Just too late, just too off. And Rico doesn't even react on the ground. That was Max's ball to take. Instead, it was Timotheus's finish to make double tap, and here we have it, 3-0. I think we might be going for a game number 5 the way this game is going.
The script was incinerated a long time ago. Nemesis Pogs. Pay to win. Hashtag. Speaking of, here comes Flake again. Nice touch, nice chip, but it's left to Rico. MacGyver over to the far wall. Pater's going to look to challenge. Maybe. No, left to Timotheus, actually. The challenge does eventually come in from Pater, but not before Flake follows up. Timotheus. What a save by Rico. Lovely redirect for the hat-trick. So close. And now here comes a shot on target. Flake can't. Oh, he almost couldn't deny Pater. He required the post to come to his assistance.
Oof, that fourth player saving the bacon of Mind Games Esports, because Pater had the brilliant position of his car, making sure that the follow-up goes back into the net. They survive. They still are bringing ball up, but look at the pace of the game. No moment for stopping. It's just the ball constantly moving to all sides, and so far it is favoring Mind Games Esports, but just as easily that high speed might betray them. Look at that, Timotheus, 6 shots. That's his 3rd goal. He has been on fire in this game. Just everything that he's doing is working in his favor. And Mind Games Esports will be incredibly happy that one of their players has really just found that button that makes him go much faster than everyone else.
Sold Mex the dummy and had a beautiful shot to match. 4-0 in game number 4 after losing 2 on the bounce with at least a 2-goal difference. What? What is this series? It's a game between 2 teams desperate not to fall to 0-3. That's what it is, and sometimes you're going to get these whimsical moments when nobody really knows what's going on. Timotheus has popped off, and he's reeling his team into a Game 5 scenario here. Rico. And now Pater. His control of the ball lost. Mex now. Not much boost to work with, and he completely whiffs the ball. If you don't have boost to work with, if you're not confident, then just don't go for it. Rocket League Basics 101. And look at that, handing it off to Flake. Another good infield pass. Nobody committed.
just so far they're really confident in just whatever they have.
There it is.
Who's not confident right now is Team Small Brain. Really, they're being just played around the finger. Flake with his extra touch, baiting Peta, rushing towards him, and then finish from MacGyver. Again, who else in the center of the field? That's his spot. He has reserved it 1 week ago. Actually, at the start of the season, really, just MacGyver said, this is my spot. Let's put a little even point in there. And he's getting goals from him, and it's working for him perfectly. A turnaround after a turnaround. Mind Games Esports brings the whole series back to, well, to the final one. Someone has to win. Really, with this performance, with the fact that Team Small Brain have disappeared from the field once again, you would think, all right, Mind Games Esports should be continuing this. But if you take into account the fact that it was the Mind Games Esports winning the very first game 5-2, then losing 2-5, then losing again. It's the two teams that are very eager not to be the first team. Well, they won't be the first team with 3 losses, but something about post-game strong, perhaps. They don't want to be in their company at the very bottom of the board. They don't want to drop down, and this is the battle for survival again. Bottom 2 spots, or actually bottom 2 spots, indeed, are getting out at the very end of the season. So nobody wants to be sitting there. So Team Small Brain, Mind Games Esports in a full-on competitive mode. And man, this is seemingly bringing both the best and the worst from these teams. And every single game, seemingly they're just switching their decks and looking what is going to be happening next. All right, Arlik, are you still feeling that it is absolutely impossible to predict? Or do you think that Mind Games Esports finally found the right switch and Team Small Brain have a million of buttons in front of them and they've completely lost the idea of which one they need to press?
After 7 goals, only answered by 2, Mind Games just won the biggest game of the series, with their biggest win of the season. You can't predict it. Mex and Pater, who were so prominent in game number 3, went absolutely AWOL in game number 4. Big game number 5 coming up. That was Timotheus's game, was game number 4. And Mind Games will need him to come up trumps once again if they are to convert this into their first W. But there's Mex and Pater. They were just down the road. They were just grabbing dinner. They've come back. They're full and they're hungry for more.
My God, when the passes like that convert, when Mind Games Esports just are not ready, they thought, all right, Team Small Brain indeed have popped up for smoke. Nope. Still here, still getting these passes going. And if Rico wakes up as well, he had a hat-trick previously in the series, then, Mind Games Esports are in the world of hurt and trouble. Only the first minute, not even the first minute gone, they're still looking for passes themselves. As long as their confidence is still in the same place. And they should have that confidence still. 1 goal shouldn't change anything. They just scored 5 against their opposition. They still should be comfortable to continue that play. If it wasn't for Peta, asleep in the previous game, this time Jack out of the box, appearing in all the right places. Look at that aggression. He just follows it. Timotheus and his teammate just sitting at, all right, we are no under threat. Pop! And you have a second goal against.
It was like he was in hibernation for 1 game, Pater, and all of a sudden he's back to his best. Look at this. Mex! Oh, they saw the play developing. They were scheming. They were ready to get goal number 3, but they were unfortunately denied by talent running out at the wrong end of the pitch. That was the first minute, folks. That was the first minute of game number 5. Still 4 remaining on the clock. Still plenty of time for this series to turn on its head yet again. What a pass down to Pater. Round the corner, Rico comes in, but MacGyver gets the touch necessary to bring it out of defense. Here comes Flake now. The challenge coming in. Timotheus trying to get the underside shot. Pater with a save. Ball up high off the top of the box. Pater with another touch. Rico should be coming in. No, Flake gets there first. And into retreat now. Go, Team Small Brain. As Mex misses his touch, MacGyver goes high, and Timotheus with a difficult shot towards net, denied by Pater and Mex, who bring this out of defense once again. Pater on his own off the crossbar.
My God, the exchange of shots was tremendous. That little double commit that turned into a pinch for Mind Games Esports set them up almost perfectly. But quick rotations back from Team Small Brain allow them to safeguard their net. Rough. Mind Games eSports all returning back from the attack pretty much. Had a chance to get something on target because Team Small Brain were all in the orange half of the field. For a second, they just switched sides. And yet no goal came, and Small Brain are back to their good or battle selves, I suppose. They're trying to get something going, but it's just not clicking as well. In those double commits, it's nice when they come together, but when you are more often than not just getting in each other's way, too eager to get on the end of a shot or a pass, that actually paints them in a worse light.
Another big save from Rico just there. Half-time comes and goes in this bottom of the table clash. For all we know, both of these two teams could end up in the bottom two anyway. Oh, Timotheus almost slipped it in at the near post. Again, the post comes to save a team. But this time, it's Team Small Brain. MacGyver away into some open air. He's got mechs. You just doesn't contend with him. MacGyver on his own. Pater closed down by Flake, but gets the block in nonetheless. Here comes Rico now. No way of telling how this game is going to end. 1 goal Mind Games, and you could genuinely see them getting 2 off the crossbar now. The woodwork denying poor old Mind Games at every which way possible. 1.5 minutes left.
And another double commit as well. You saw it, 2 players coming up, Flake going hard, but MacGyver was already there. They could have had a chance to follow it up on the ground with a 3rd shot, and Team Small Brain's defense was already looking out of place. But too eager to go for it. Going with 2 players, you don't get twice the results. Most of the time, you get no results and then no chance for a follow-up. Mind Games eSports still way too eager to go for these shots.
1 more minute for Mind Games to stop themselves from entering the Lonely Boys Club. Well, it won't be Lonely Boys in a little bit because there'll be 2 teams on 0 and 3. Timotheus completely whiffs the touch out of defense. Rico up high. In comes Mex, but he doesn't get there. MacGyver downfield from Flake now. Up high. First to the ball is Pater once again. He has decided to take this entire series, really, by the horns. He's going to ride it to the end, no matter which way this goes. Mex, who's just waiting for the ball. Flake gets there first. They can't allow him to get there first. Not like Pater's doing here. Great closing down here. And 10 seconds left. Timotheus takes out Rico, but Pater just slows down the play. He's got no boost to work with. That's the right call all day long. And Rico challenging again. What a topsy-turvy series that was, and it's Team Small Brain who comes out on top. They win 3-2 in the series. They go to 1-2 overall in the season. Mind Games are left licking their wounds. They're down to 3-0. Oh, sorry, to 0-3 rather. Wrong way around. They'd be very happy.
And then by the trick of some sort of a rule, you lose 3 games, or rather you go very up and down in your final series for the day. You almost win, but then you lose. Yep, you immediately go 3-0 in the standings. So, unfortunately, that's not how it's going to go for Mind Games, and that also puts a big dent for their plans for the season. There's still the opportunity for them to keep on playing, again, keep on being the spoiler for the other teams, surprise the teams here and there. But they let the series rather slip away from them. Really, that has to be one of the most disappointing affairs. Knowing that you can completely dominate your opposition, 5-2, 5-0, I'd count them as dominations, and then let that slip. And with a swing as well, just you couldn't even figure out who's gonna get it, who's not get it. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But one team comes ahead. And right up until the very end, up until the very last game, and during the game, we also were questioning, all right, it's only 2 goals. It can still happen for Mind Games eSports. You couldn't tell whether the Team Small Brain will bounce back again, as they did throughout the series, whether finally this will be their swan song. It wasn't, and big congratulations to them. That was a hard-fought battle on both ends.
You're telling me. You're telling me, right? Well, let's take a little look at the standings then as we exit week number 3. Time Chasers and Backflip Boys, they didn't play this week, and they stay as they are. Time Chasers first, Backflip Boys second. They occupy the LAN places. Behind them, there has been movement. Team Black Diamond into third now. After playing 3 games, they're 2-1. They match Imperial on win-loss difference, but they are significantly better off when it comes to game difference. Black Diamond with the +5. Imperial with the +0. They've lost as many games as they've won, in other words. Bad Dudes slot into 5th with their 2-2 record, but they also now are the team that have played the most games in the league. I realise that they're sitting there in 5th, Jam. I think it's a little bit precarious. Speaking of precarious, Team Smallbrain in that last position to gain automatic entry into BESL Season 5. They sit on 1 and 2, but that was a massive series for them against Mind Game, and I think that they can take a lot of good things. Again, I said they could take a lot of good things out of the Time Chasers series. Less so the Bad Dudes series from last week, of course. This is a lot better, though. They took some bruising defeats against Mind Games, and they still came back to win the series overall. Speaking of Mind Games and Post Game Strong, now propping up the table, 0 pair of them, but Post Game Strong on that -8 goal difference after that, 10+ goal game difference up against Time Chasers. It's going to be a tall order for either of those teams to make it to LAN at this point. In fact, some would probably say it's impossible. Survival is the only thing on the mind now. Every game from here on out is a must-win.
Well, it's a target of its own, and I'm really hoping to see that Post Game Strong come into the next thing. Before we go and look at the schedule, how the game unfolded this week, just a quick look at the matchup between Team Small Brain and Mind Games eSports. And this actually sounds like much less goals than I anticipated, but no, it's incredibly close. 12 goals, 8 assists, 17 saves to 21 saves, 39 shots versus 40 shots, and the shooting percentage is also very close indeed. 31 for Team Small Brain, 30 for Mind Games eSports. See how close the series was? No wonder we went to the game number 5, and it's only wondered how on earth these two teams have managed to bring the seesaw into this game of Rocket League, because they were riding that seesaw up and down. One victor in the end, that was the Team Small Brain. So with that, let's just quickly take a peek at what was happening this week. We had another 4 series of games going any old way. Well, mostly the way of, well, we had quite a few. Let's just say that. We had quite a setup today, and let's just take a look at exactly what was happening today right from the very beginning. So, at the very start of today, we saw Bad Dudes. Not perhaps the strongest performance from them, but against a hapless Post Game Strong, it was a 3-0, putting Post Game Strong back down at the bottom of the board. Imperial almost succumbed to Post Game Strong, because Post Game Strong all of a sudden decided, all right, that was a joke what we did in the first series. Let's be serious about this. And when Post Game Strong is serious, our league is happy. Jar Jam is happy as well. Unfortunately, they just couldn't finish it through. Imperial, with the help of Chuvas in place of Tagmata, were able to bring that series to a 3-1, despite it could have gone any old way. Team Black Diamond, I'd say, left no healthy spot on the Bad Dudes with that 3-0 sweep. And then, in the end, well, if you're a fan of either Team Small Brain and Mind Games eSports, you might be clutching to your heart right now. Everyone else, I suppose, have enjoyed a wild ride of games going any old way. Goals, some contenders for goal of the week, that's for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'm currently looking at the MVP for exactly from that series. I'm feeling like one of the Team Small Brain players would be the MVP for this week for me, Ma.
Pater?
Yeah, you're reading my mind.
It's got to be Pater, surely. I know that he had that one off game in game 4. Aside from that, I mean, he was doing everything, literally everything, and he was the creative force that allowed them ultimately to pick up their first win in a season, which, I mean, that could be the win that sparks their revival and which ensures that they remain in BESL for another season.
Well, best of luck to them. They still have a long road in front of them, and man, it's just gonna go that much harder. So with that, I think the day is through. There's still a couple of things we would like to remind you of. That, of course, is the fact that hey, you will be able to see us. That's me, Jar of Jam. That's him, Irely, as well as Haku, if you're still here from her channel, in Tallinn this November 23rd and 24th. Finals for Rocket League, for CSGO, and for Guns of Boom will be happening. You can still get your tickets up until the very last moment. I'm pretty sure you can get tickets if you are a student or if you're coming with a family or a group. You'll get a discount, so just go for that. If you want to go for just 1 day or for 2 days, or even grab that VIP ticket, the opportunity is yours. Or if you want to participate in the cosplay event, that's a big cosplay judging contest that will be happening on the second day of HyperTown Tallinn, you can register for that as well. HyperTown.Pro is the site you need to go to and get all the information regarding that. Tickets, registration, everything is there. Also, you can still grab a couple of prizes just by playing video games at home. PUBG and CSGO contest every single Wednesday starting at 7 o'clock. Go to BESL.Pro for information on that one. Right, Arlik, any parting thoughts after this week, or just bringing in the next one? What are your feelings after this one?
I'm looking really forward to the Black Diamond Backflip Boys game. I'm looking really forward to Mind Games versus Post Game Strong. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season, Jam. I think it's really setting up quite nice.
Well, once again, I've been Jar of Jam. He has been Ireleak. See us next week at the very same time. That's Saturday, 3 o'clock local time, for more Rocket League, for more exciting matches, well, just for your Sunday dose of Rocket League. We'll see you there. Goodbye.
Ir mirkļi, kas nevar gaidīt. Paņem tos līdzi, lai kur tu būtu. Helio ITV televīzija, kas pielāgojas tev.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Yeah, you another name. Switch up the battery.
Helio piedāvā.
Mēs no tā viss varam uztaisīt kārtīgu weekend balīti. Tu esi Andris kā vecajos laikos.
Lai kādos piedzīvojumos tu dotos, Helio ITV un Shortcut vienmēr tev līdzi. Skaties, kur un kā vēlies.
okei.